So, good evening, folks. I'm going to do a little bit of streaming here I'm hoping, for about an hour and a half ahead of the start of the Milan derby. I will be going into my club, and yeah, might try some online games. Try some. I mean, I've got about an hour and a half here. Maybe try and grab an online game. I think what I might do first of all is actually go into a wee bit of a development mode. We'll see how that goes. But yeah, just thought I'd come back after a wee stream I did earlier. Thought, yeah, why not come back? A couple of hours free between matches today. Yeah, let's get to it. So, any pauses here at the moment, folks, it will be primarily because I'm looking to get the everything set up. I've tweeted out already. Any pauses here at the moment, folks, it will be primarily because I'm looking to get the everything set up. I've tweeted out already. Any pauses here at the moment, folks, it will be primarily because I'm looking to get the everything set up. I've tweeted out already. Any pauses here at the moment, folks, it will be primarily. Okay. Dead air aplenty here, eh? Will not be long, just getting something stuck up on WND. Dead air aplenty here, eh? Will not be long, just getting something stuck up on WND. That was me again, obviously. Right. See where we're at. Let's see, is it going in here? Right, okay. We are almost ready. Maybe not, I don't know. Aye. Good. Right, there we go. So folks, the last stream I done there, I think was just round about lunchtime today. Play the game online, get beat 1-0. So before I actually go into play any kind of game, I'll do a little bit of squad reconfiguration and look to just address something very, very quickly. Well, actually, it's something that should do with considerable addressing. I'm going to be honest with you, the online play has been pretty bad the last, I mean, I said earlier, certainly since the online daily challenge, but I think it's gone further back. I really do. I think it's went a bit further back. We could maybe even look at it being since the last data pack and patch. It's just not been right. Something with responsiveness. I am not saying this purely as a personal opinion. It seems to be a shared one. I know the kind of audience, some of the audience I'll be speaking to, who will, say, "Oh, it's always rubbish." That's just not true. Certainly that's something I know. It's completely, there's a variety of factors that are going to influence something like that. But from a personal standpoint, what is it? I got BT Infinity. I will normally turn off all devices while playing online in PES. I know it's absurd. It's not really what you want to have to be doing. Maybe I don't actually have to. I know I've played a few games whereby I've not had to turn off other things that are on my network, but this just tends to be what I do. If I want a smooth experience, that's what I'll do. Not really working though, if I'm being honest with you. I don't know if they've done something. I don't know if there's some kind of live patch in amongst this data or whatever that's slightly tweaking the gameplay. But responsiveness is not quite what it should be. Pass selection can be off. It's just, I've had some good matches, don't get me wrong. I wouldn't be playing this game online if there wasn't enjoyment to be had from it. But it just feels as though this week it's been way more inconsistent than it had been prior. So, frankly, that needs looked into. If they have looked to do some kind of minor adjustment or something through a live update or whatever, they're trying to tweak the settings on the gameplay or something. Maybe some kind of feedback they're getting from what's happening in the game, how people are playing, what's an exploit, what isn't, what's proven effective, what's not effective. The fact is, the balance ain't quite right, in my opinion. Also, this is quite a big one, and I mean this is rather telling. I think I know a lot of players who are good players at this. Again, I'm going to show awareness to the audience here. There's a lot of people who just do not care about my club, right? Well, the fact is, a lot of people play it, myself included. So while I have an interest, and I've said previously, I should be a Master League player, I do find myself playing my club this year, so therefore I find myself naturally, if I'm looking at a lot of community stuff, some of my focus will be on what people are saying about my club and their experiences. And what tends to be happening is a lot of very, very high, considerably high ranked and well skilled players, some of whom I know, are going through these awful form dips. And, everybody can have that in this game. Something I will probably look to discuss, hopefully in the next hour or so. But that's not right, because it seems to be a collective thing. Now, I had my own little sort of, my own theories on this, as it were. I mean, is it something to do with regional prioritisation sometimes? Is it our shot in Europe to maybe get that, not get that kind of high priority level connection? If that's the case, if they do have to do something like that, that needs to be communicated out to users. Reason for that is, and I go back to this, we're talking about a game mode here that is a microtransaction enabled experience. Yeah. Now, I touched on it earlier with regards to my thoughts on microtransactions and how I personally don't have necessarily a problem with microtransactions in a game. I do have an issue when they are part of a paid product. Now, where PES can, differentiate itself somewhat, and is doing so, is that they do have PES Lite. PES Lite gives you full access to my club, so you can basically play my club for nothing. You have that choice, you have that freedom. There are microtransactions in the game, but if the entry price is zero, I don't see really what they necessarily would be. Well, there would be other issues surrounding that, but on a base level, and quite ironic that I need to mention somebody who is quite a voice in the gaming world, but Jim Sterling. I would hold the same point of view as him. If you're going to make, if you have a free to play element to your game, or certainly in the case of PES Lite, it is a free to play product. Yeah, microtransactions, that's fine. Yeah. Now, what I touched on earlier was my thoughts that part of the game then should therefore maybe come out before a paid version of the product, because therefore maybe, and this is the fact, it is, every, publishers, developers the world over, and it happen, it can drift into some other media and the like, is, that's an entry fee. That entry fee is just, I mean, I don't want to say nefarious. At the end of the day, they'll have their strategies and the like as to how they want to release their game. But I see no reason why maybe they should maybe be looking at PES Lite being out before the main game. Maybe how it could also be out before its current release window. Game comes out every September, every mid-September. Personally, again, I can only say this as a personal point of view, I'd be happy if they shifted the release of what would be new PES experience in the form of PES Lite by a couple of months sooner. What that might well therefore allow is for feedback to be gathered from users of the game. You could still have your offline elements. I've detailed in WNB previously as to where I think they could actually, really make the offline side of a PES Lite actually still quite a viable product in its own right for certain users, and it might even entice others. Now again, I say entice, and I think a lot of people think, oh no, he's trying to get us to go and play my club and give Konami money. The very fact of the matter is, there, folks, we're all the same. We can all be influenced. Are microtransactions a good thing in games? How they're implemented into AAA products, or products that are, backed by considerable budgets, that has to be looked at. So yeah, I mean that does key in if people are frustrated with an online experience, and if there is any level of prioritization or anything like that, no real logic for the player to actually have an understanding of, and it's kind of sucky if it is a case of something like that. For example, well, this week or this month or this fortnight, maybe we have to prioritise the South American user base with regards to servers or whatever. I don't know the ins and outs of this. I don't know the technicalities of it. But if that is something, I think that needs to be communicated, because therefore, if I know that, and if I was a player who was averse, who wasn't averse to the odd purchase of my club coins, I probably wouldn't buy my club coins in that 2 weeks, because then I know I'm not getting that pure experience. Likewise, and this is just more to do with the gameplay side of it, it seems to be a lot of people will comment that those dips in form. Now, dips in form are dips in form, but there is the logic of it. There doesn't seem to be any. I've heard people talk about how they go on maybe not even a huge winning streak, but then they'll face a huge losing streak, or not a huge one, but a sizable one that seems as though the game's turning against them and making sure they're dropping down a division or whatever. It's not cool. What some people have said is, if you change the manager, it can maybe break the cycle a little bit or make it a little bit more palatable. Again, see if that's something that the game is actually trying to get you to do. They just need to say that. I think they need to say, your manager might have, let's say 38 games. 38 games, that manager is probably going to be pretty much on form for you. But then, of course, it just comes down to player condition and the like, and that can still be an influencing factor. That's fine. I might kind of question it and go, well, that's not really realistic. But if you're talking about a game, not a football game, but just a game, some kind of gameplay logic, some loop to it, you just think, right, okay, so therefore that is when I'm expected to maybe try and invest in a new manager. Now, whether that be investing in a new manager through having to buy coins or just acquiring the right amount of GP, whatever, at least you know that's something that's maybe going to be expected of you. So, yeah, I mean, I just wanted to kind of quickly talk about that, although it's not turned out very quick, just about the kind of the online experience as of late. Like I say, I'm a player who this year, towards the tail end of PES 2017, I'm talking June last year, right up until the beta, and even following the beta for PES 2018, found myself playing a hell of a lot of online football in PES 2017, and yes, in my club. And it's a hell of a lot. I personally think it's a hell of a lot of fun, but not. That's with caveats, or that's with me putting conditions in place. I don't mind making those choices. So, example here as well. We won't see it right now because the team's shown 4-star. Compliments of me trying to just having a wee mess about with recent acquisition, Ruud Gullit here. He just takes it over that 1899 that I kind of look to stick to. 1899 being the magic number, as that's the max out you can get before it goes into level 4 territory. Level 4 territory is black ball player aplenty territory, and it's not where I find a lot of fun in the game, in the online environment. So that's just one of those kind of rules I'll put in place for myself. Along with that, the type of player I am in my club generally is I like to develop players. I basically look to approach my club as Master League. When I play Master League, I'm a player who will use default players to start with, and it's all about building a dynasty, isn't it? It's all about that little journey, and I get a lot of fun from that in Master League. It's the way it's always been with me, For as long as player development has been part of PES, that is how I've always approached Master League. I'm not somebody who will start with the default, not the default squad, real squads. I'll start lowest division I can, default players, let's see where we can get to. So there is therefore maybe a degree of ignorance, for example, when it comes to some of the real world elements not being quite in place, because I'm in my own little bubble there, because I'm just making it more about my experience, my journey, my player's journey, my team's journey, if you like. So yeah, that's how I look to approach my club. However, I do notice I'm not doing much here, so let's kind of get that sorted right now. So we're going to take Hullet out, and we're going to stick Lucas in with Hullet coming right out of the squad. Certainly just for a couple of moments here till I see if I can maybe get him to feature. In fact, right, okay. So this is, see right now, this is probably my first choice back four. Johnny Castro alternating with DeFilio, but other than that, that's who I would probably look to go ahead with. Discussed it earlier in my previous stream. I love this guy, Fosu Mensah. I've got him up to a level 52. That was starting from level 1. And I know, a lot of people don't like the whole OVR thing, but it exists. Doesn't mean to say that I'm all for it. I prefer the whole hexagon thing and just a list of stats and working it out from there. We all do. I think most of us, most seasoned Pro Evo players, that's how they like, that's how they would like this kind of information to be presented. Less about that kind of endpoint stat. I think it can work in other games, and good luck to them. I don't know. I just think PES doesn't necessarily need it. But in the case of Fosu Mensah, that hexagon does not look like a 77 OVR, and I don't know. I suppose it benefits me a little bit, because maybe if I go online, when I go online, people say 78, he'll be a bit of a bomb scare. Well, he has his moments, Timothy, but he's one of my favourite players in the game at the moment. So that would be my first choice back four. Moving on to midfield then. I think earlier on that would be who I'm going to go with just now. Not necessarily first choice, but who I want to kind of play with in this next match. Just as we've just thinking on the hop here, I think I might just dip into an online match actually. Do you know that? I'm going to bring in Felipe Anderson. Not used him a great deal. And the only reason I'm looking to kind of bump up the squad strength here is I'm in Division 4, and I just feel like I should just maybe play a little bit more of a stronger squad. Although, as you can see, it's not as if I'm loaded with worldies here or anything. Little change from the previous game. I didn't actually use Abel Hernandez, but he's going to come out anyway. I'm going to stick in. Given that I've got a support striker in Papu, I think what I'll do is I'll maybe like to bring in Mr. Cult, Roger Martinez. Martinez is one of those cult players within the My Club community. And again, I said it in my previous stream, I read a lot of comments about how player individuality is non-existent, is dampened, etc, etc. I would challenge those people then. I want them to, I would actually say, right, I need to explain to me how come there are cult players within this mode, within the game in general. Because that can't exist without player individuality. It just can't. As I also said earlier, therefore, how player individuality is unearthed, how it's presented, all debatable, but to say there's no player individuality is just nonsense. I'm sorry. I can't entertain that conversation, because there's so much that would counter that. Not only my own experience, but that of others. It couldn't function. You wouldn't have the level of conversation that you find in some quarters, some communities, if that wasn't apparent. However, we seem to have the squad set up as I probably want to look to approach this next match then. Issue last game was probably just options, not so much options off the bench, but I ended up finding myself having to play Andre Almeida in a centre midfield role and bringing Gustavo back. Now, Gustavo won't play centre midfield when I go into the match. He'll actually change that to defensive midfielder. And with regards to Gabriel Jesus, I'd probably, I'd always look to try and start with the two centre forwards, but another option there is to change it with support striker, or bring on Papu there as to start the match at support striker. So let's just see how this goes then. I would like to be able to kind of cram Hullet in here just to give him a wee run out, but I just don't. He is, and I'm going to just check this just now. He is going to bring that up. There we go, easily into 1900s and that, and that's a good 100 points he's adding on there. So I mean that would take some amount of trimming here just to kind of accommodate one player. So I'd like to elaborate on it further. I probably will, maybe in future streams. But I mean, this is just my general approach here. I like developing players. I like playing at a certain level of team. I think there's a positive effect on it. I think it has a positive influence on my gameplay experience because I put filters on. So I don't know if anyone caught my stream earlier, but the guy I played against wasn't playing with superstar players. Certainly playing with some gold ball players and black ball players in his squad, but it wasn't rammed full of, it wasn't some super team playing 4-3-3. I think he had Balotelli and Immobile up front, both of whom he had levelled up quite well. I quite like that. I quite like playing against other guys who are kind of levelling up squads like that. So we're ready to go here. Any D forms I've accidentally slipped in here? No, but I'm taking a risk with these C forms, so we'll see how it goes anyway. See, I've got some comments, folks. I don't play with the window function open. Size of screen I'm playing on, it just means I'd probably struggle to see the actual game itself. So we'll see how it goes. Okie dokie. Let's go to divisions. Sorry folks, just checking something very quickly there. So there we see it, right, so it's, that's my matchmaking settings. Team strength level, similar level, so that's what I push for. Network connection restrictions, I would probably like to bump that up to 4, to be honest with you. I might do that. I'll probably do a wee test of that over the next few days just to see how quickly matchmaking can come. Of course, I try and keep pass support level the same. What I also do, it was mentioned in my previous, you'll have seen it if my previous stream will show. I use advanced shooting. So pass support level being similar. I believe I used pass support 1. I think I might have used 2 now and then. But offline game, it would certainly be one I would look to use. So let's see what happens here. And I should just say before we go any further, rest in peace, David Astori. Pretty tragic news that to hear that today. I believe his girlfriend or wife gave birth to a child a couple of weeks ago. So yeah, thoughts go out to his family, friends and family, and it's certainly, it's never easy, it's never easy really to kind of say a lot on these things. You just know, ultimately it's just tragic. So yeah, rest in peace, pal. So what I might try and do is see, just while I'm waiting on this match, just going to have a wee look at some comments here on WNB. There's been some conversation with regards to physicality, positioning, and I've got my own take on these things. It might not necessarily be the most popular of takes, but I do have my own. There is, ultimately, these games are the very fact of the matter is there is going to be some license taking over reality. There will be. What can sometimes be, put back to me as, well, in FIFA positioning is excellent, and see, the thing is, okay, fine. Let's make that assumption that that's true. I'm not one to necessarily dispute it. I haven't played FIFA this year. It's not through some hatred for the franchise or anything. It's just time. I don't have enough. I just don't have that spare time anymore to be having 2 football games on the go. It's not good for me anyway, because I will just chop and change. And then, a lot of people can do that. I can't, and I can. I'm happy with that. That might change. I think probably has to change. I think certainly if I'm going to be putting out more content and looking to be more active within WNB community, and it ultimately demands that I expose myself to other products that are on the market. I bought FIFA 17. Actually thought it was okay. Certainly, I think from a visual standpoint at that time, I was like that. Yeah, I was really blown away with things like lighting and stuff. However, coming back to this thing about if we assume something like FIFA's positioning is spot on, do you know what's not spot on with FIFA? And this is, again, subjective. FIFA's realisation, or simulation, if you like, of what it's like to have a ball at your feet. I'm talking about mechanics. Mechanically, FIFA is quite alienating to me. Now, to speak about what type of a player I was, and I said earlier, I'm a little bit older now. I don't play a lot of 11-a-side football anymore, but I used to. And also, given my age, I played a lot of football because there was fuck all else to do. Pardon my language, there might be some swearing, but that's the fact of it. I grew up pretty much born in the 70s. I was playing football with scores of people by the age of 5. It was just a different world. It was a different generation. There certainly wasn't games like these to keep us occupied, and it was a case of your parents would just, over summer holidays and stuff, there was a lot more trust. Kids would just go out, wander, play loads of football, do whatever they're doing, get up to no good. I can certainly say from where I've grown up and having, when I visit there, it's different now. You just don't see that. And a lot of kids are maybe indoors, a lot of parents are more protective. The social environment that we live in, things like social media, awareness of other things that are, a little bit dark if we're going to go down the route of, threats to children, if you like. And naturally and understandably, parents get a little bit more cautious. So it was a different time. Back then, no, just ran about. All we did was play football, and that's why I just don't think FIFA mechanically is representative of the sport. Now, equally, PES is not a, in that regard, if we're just going to go strictly speaking, well, PES isn't because it's a controller. But running about with a ball at your feet is not, in my opinion, how FIFA like to think it is. I don't feel as though I'm controlling humans when or representations of professional football players when I play FIFA. It's just a mess of buttons for me. People will say, well, you just need to learn, that's what you need to do in the real sport. Well, yeah, to a degree, but a lot of football is instinct. A lot of football is managing that instinct. A lot of football is having understanding of your body anyway, going into it. And I just don't think having a football game that's got layers and layers and layers and layers of mechanics is representative of the sport. That's just where I'm at with that particular point there. So, yeah, I need to speed up here a little bit, folks. Sorry, I'm just wandering off here because I want to get this set up properly. Never caught that guy's right rating actually, but who cares? Sometimes that doesn't actually help knowing these things. So, because I've got Gustavo able to play DM, I'm just going to sit Khedira in there. Going to do wing back again, and he's playing 4-3-3. I am not going to just make that much changes to things then. I feel like I'm missing something. Is it a positional thing? No. Right, we're going for it. We'll see how this goes. But yeah, I mean that's really. I think at some point I'd probably like to, try and articulate in detail, flesh out that thought there. But I'm not saying PES is mechanically perfect either. But so far as I believe in future, the best football game on the market will be the one anybody can play. And when I say anybody, I don't mean, alright, babies can play it and they can beat a guy who's, vastly experienced in these games. No, what I mean is the entry level is just like that of the real sport. You get a ball, you run about. So it's just to try and represent that as best in a controller as possible, I suppose. Whether that ever comes to be. It could easily be that in the future it won't be a controller-based endeavour, shall we say. And already I can feel this is just a little bit laggy again. So that stuff about the performance levels again. Oof. Just general performance of the game online just now. Just not being great.
Well, the first attempt hasn't quite.
It's like I say, I've turned pretty much everything off on that. I can in regards to my system. In fact, I'm going to make one more alteration here. So I'm going dark. The only thing operating is PS4 on my internet.
Lucas Vasque, massive leap! And the ball's come loose.
So there's these micro delays. There's just little things going on with the online side of it that just ain't sitting right with me.
They've got to stop the cross.
And it's odd because right now, see if I'm moving my player here, it feels responsive there. But just once you get the ball, things just seem to be a little bit different from what they were for the months that preceded this.
He's gone for it! Oh, that is very close. That's a great effort. There was very little backlift to indicate what was coming. Yeah, early stages I know, Peter, but there's a show of forward thrust here. They're oozing belief.
Good play. Is this guy full manual? No. He's skilled, but... And this is why I think I'm going to fuck up in Division 4 because I'm playing against a different level of player. Not only that, there's a lot of very good players whose rankings have plummeted, as I've said previously, on account of recent developments with the online side of the game. So, I could be playing a guy here for all I know who should be considerably more higher ranked than he is, and whom I normally probably wouldn't be facing. yeah, it's just no feeling right here. Yeah, see, that's something there. See just how he's kind of stopped and turned. I don't have a problem if there's a wee bit of planting and there's just a little delay, but it doesn't feel right. It just doesn't feel right.
He's made sure that that won't get through.
Hopefully that sails.
Straight out wide.
Big ball in.
Into the middle.
Firmino.
Timely intervention. Chania Erkin.
Maybe a turning circle thing, I just can't tell. But there we go again.
It's gone out for a throw in. Vermaelen. Chania Erkin. Afellay. Doesn't get the pass he's looking for.
See, this is just fucking brutal at the moment. He had that ball under control, and as soon as I make an input, I get the delay.
Played back in. Lucas Vazquez. Chance to cross here. Can he finish? And with a goal at his mercy, a dreadful miss.
I do have a wee suspicion that I might be playing against an auto passer. Well, certainly maybe his pass support selection is maybe a little bit more assisted than mine, but he is using. See,
Try as they might, they just couldn't get into an attacking
something's
area.
not right.
He's
Oh, wait a minute,
through.
something's perfect. No. So I use advanced shooting, like I say,
Lucas Vazquez.
and advanced shooting offline feels absolutely fine. Scoring some cracking goals offline now, but I just feel as though that's been compromised a little bit with this, whatever's going on. And the thing is, it doesn't always feel like lag.
There are a few waiting for it. Mario Gaspar heaves it forward. Luis Gustavo tries to get it forward quickly. Chania Erkin. And it's Berahino. He's got away. Good run, ultimately thwarted by an astute piece of defending.
Yards behind me, and he's still.
Luis Gustavo breaks on here. Luis Gustavo
So inconsistent now. I mean, maybe they have loosened it up. It's just not quite done. See, pass selection awful again. Pass weight, I should say. And that's me using, just a green bar pass. That should be more than good enough.
Now the pass back into the middle. Accusatory stare there tells the whole story.
Roma seemed to have chosen a tougher route through the middle. That was easily read and dealt with.
Looks to clip it forward. Is it in?
Fucking hell.
That wasn't easy.
Well, that was high-class goalkeeping.
You guys see the wee micropause there as well.
High-class wage.
Right, left footer. I balls this up earlier, just kept on messing up there. Kicker selection. Although, Jesus Christ, what happened there?
Forward it goes.
So this ain't been great so far.
So both sides have drawn blanks. They have toiled at times, but it's not been a bad game.
Really difficult to say if I should be making any kind of adjustments here.
An engrossing half.
Because I don't know if, what I've got set up is fine. But, I'm with that. So yeah, there's other things I'd probably look to discuss here, but I think at the moment, the actual match itself has got my focus.
Tries to switch the play. Firmino.
See, that was a pass that was selected for Jesus.
He hits it.
Didn't know why I tried a shot there, but there we go. Nonsense.
they're committing a lot of men forward at the start of this second half. They know that this is an important time for them now.
Gaspar. Now the counter.
Crikey.
Kadira.
Do it again.
Good challenge.
Oh,
He just
super
stood
tackle.
firm.
They were outnumbered and under the cosh. That had to be spot on, and it was.
Afellay. Firmino. Where to from here? He's left his man. It's come loose. Stones trying to get there. And they've got it back as soon as they gave it away.
Definitely something going on though, folks. See with the players turning, responsiveness, not on the ball, off the ball. Oof, that was some cross. As pointed out earlier, watching a Spoony Pizzas video, where he kind of commented on how since the last patch there was certainly no effectiveness to those kind of diagonal type crosses into the box. You know, not that they're OP or anything like that, just that they were more effective than what they were before.
It is still anyone's game, 0-0. Looks like a good ball through. The ball's come loose and the chase is on. Son Heung-min goes for a sweeping cross.
Jesus
Oh,
Christ.
that's a foul in a dangerous area. And no surprise, that's a booking. The players are making their point, but
Something they certainly need to better explain. I mean, there's issues with player switching, I still think there is. What they need to do, what they need to better explain is the defensive theory, because I do think a lot of it is about what they want you to do is to focus on almost like positional management, and some people call it passive defence. I don't think it is at all. I find it really engaging having to do that kind of stuff. Don't get me wrong, that's not me saying that, oh right, positional positional woes are fine. I'll talk about positioning. I'll look to talk about positioning either this evening or maybe in another stream or be it another platform. But with regards to that theory, I've got no issue with that. You know, I think that's a good thing, or certainly something that some things are just worth trying just to rule out. So I've got no issue with a developer looking to do something like that. God knows, football games don't have a huge amount in the way sometimes of gameplay innovations. What I will say, and you can call it bias, you can call it whatever you want, it is one of the biggest innovations in these football games for me in the last couple of years is in this game, and it is the left stick dribbling. Left stick dribbling, the theory behind it, what they're looking to do with it, contextual stuff, feints being possible, just quick shimmies, quick movements to the left stick. That's awesome. That actually is one of those things I'm talking about when it comes to being looking to replicate the real sport a little bit, looking to replicate how a feint is. A feint is not like I need to, I am going to do this. There's a lot of feints, a lot of players who will feint in the game, I can't accept anyone to tell me otherwise, that every feint that they make when they play football is a premeditated thing. A lot of it is reactionary. So if you know the same mechanic, or to do the same thing in FIFA, to do the same thing in FIFA requires multiple button inputs. Doesn't represent real life for me. So in that regard, I think developers deserve some credit for trying to think out, even outside the box, but trying to integrate some of these things into, streamline them. That's great. The problem is then, and I think that's what the problem they've encountered with this year.
Real
Oh, Christ, see what I mean?
chance.
Yeah, really, really
Quite
sluggish
direct, but
match.
this can still go either way. It might be flowing one way, but there's still time for some ebb.
And he's shown him a clean pair of
Every
heels.
Concentration
Honestly,
levels are very
every
good,
through
and
ball
so is the commitment.
is just been
This
overhit,
game
no
could
matter
yet
what I
yield
do
a
at the
winner.
moment in this match. Oh, pissed that happens.
He's off on a marauding run.
Oh,
Passes it. Can he put it away?
another dickhead.
And it's bounced
Oh,
out.
Jesus.
It's anyone and the follow-up.
I'll take the corner.
Just off target.
Has he got goals? Left foot. Six yard box. Get this one right in there.
Up to meet it. He's done very well to get to that.
Well, what can I say?
Right, that's not
Truly
really down
wonderful
south, have it?
goalkeeping.
Too caught up in talking to you lot.
Luis Gustavo. Looks to
Oh.
save it. And the finish.
Oh, he blew it.
Great build-up. It all
Pointing
deserved a
towards
better
goal
ending.
there. Rookie mistake
It's
for
easy
a
to say it, but
advanced
difficult
shot
to
off.
stop it when runs in behind are being made like that.
Oh, how big is that? Right, Firmino unfortunately needs to come off. I've not really got any other striking options. Shit. I do now. Support striker is this. And I think elsewhere I'm going to have to take the risk. A big risk and give the big bronze boy a big run out. Or a very small run out. It could be costly. But Nedelku, I've got a lot of faith in this boy.
There is some activity down on the touchline.
And get a bit of range with him, I'm
Seems
just going to
change.
have a crack. But similarly, he is not
They're making life
quite
really hard for themselves.
at the level he
ball
probably
needs
needs
to be in the mixer,
be
not there.
present in that online.
Gets up to head it.
Ah, there we go. See? Fucking crap.
Gaspar.
Absolute bullshit. Oh, they're just pulling up.
It's Son Heung-min. Saved only by poor finishing.
That was... You see that touch there? See Nedelku there? Look at that. There's like almost like a force field or something, and that was not happening. See, for what people might want to say about this game, that was not happening before.
Stones picks it up from the goal kick.
And he's getting his winner.
Son Heung-min with the ball through. No, that's not the ball he wanted. Son Heung-min. Who's ball? Who's going to get there? And that's
Right,
it.
that was
Stalemate. One
that was a
thought the
slog,
fans, then perhaps the coaches, satisfied
and
by organisation and solidity.
more than I might,
Cutting edge at either end,
just sluggish.
and it finishes 0-0.
It's like I say,
How do you look back on the game then,
inconsistently.
Jim?
Listen,
So,
the more this game went on,
because
a draw was always likely to be on the cards. So
sometimes it
overall,
felt
I
as
don't
though
think anyone will be complaining
player
too much
movement
about what they've
off the
got.
ball was fine, and then other times it was just like, you know, what is going on here? On the ball, any kind of turns and stuff just felt really, really laboured. And again, pass selection. It was just, you know, way to pass and stuff. Just felt as though it was a little bit out of my control there. Yeah. The good thing is that this is kind of seems to be, you know, it seems to be the general thought at the moment. So hopefully they are getting the feedback on this, that they something they probably have to look at it. And for the record, I am not a Konami conspiracy theorist who believes that, oh no, this is all by design. You know, they're deliberately messing the game up. I don't think it's like that. All right, I can't operate with that. I don't have all the information there. You know, I just don't. We don't have all the information in order to make that kind of. I mean, that's guesswork. It really is. Doesn't matter how nicely you like to word it. you know, what your thoughts are about microtransactions and games in general, all these other things. You need to operate on this. Do you have all the information? We don't. So that's how I'm going to approach that particular claim. I suppose something else I should just touch on with regards to my recent activity in WNB is some of the accusations that I'm some kind of Konami shill, or indeed, you know, some new kind of PR rep, or on the payroll. See if I'm folks going to tell me what account the money's in. This is, you know, just to you know, honestly, just to address this. Here's how it is. These are the you know, PES 2018 is like any other video game. It's for our consideration. That's how I approach everything. You know, there is a ton of games out there that are for my consideration, and I choose not to play. And the reason I choose not to play them is because I just don't think they're worth my consideration. I don't have a, you know, it's not because I think that corporation is, you know, I don't think that, you know, I can't think that much of these things. Certainly not at my age. It's not worth it. And ultimately, I don't have control over it anyway. So it's best to, you know, there's a whole ton of games whereby they're up to all sorts these days. And, you know, just going back to the point, there's a lot of games I just don't bother with that are either highly recommended, you know, or basically I just maybe know myself they're not going to be my type of thing. Good example of that is a game like The Witcher 3. I just thought it was rubbish. Didn't even play it that much. But again, it's so similarly, you know, it's just. It just kind of boggles the mind sometimes that in our communities that if somebody comes in and says, I'm enjoying this, and here's why I'm enjoying it, and actually I don't think Konami are you know, up to X, Y and Z, I don't have all the information. What some people say to you is, you're on the payroll. That is moon unit talk. That is tinfoil hat stuff. And I think so far as communities moving forward in general, a lot of that kind of rhetoric needs to stop. And you know what? I'm going to say this as somebody who knows he's no saint here when it comes to quality of communication, shall we say, on forums and the like. I'll admit that, you know. Sometimes I feel as though it's absolutely just. You know, to respond in kind, and other times, you know, I just think, no, they can look over something again and go, I shouldn't have put it that way, or whatever. I personally think with regards to a few individuals who I've had to deal with, they certainly don't do that. They don't look at what they write and go, actually, I could have done that differently. And what they actually maybe believe is the fact if somebody like me says, actually, I can say something, but then I can go, probably should have addressed that differently. They'll probably see that as weakness. It's not that, it's just being human, you know. I think if I thought every single post I'd made was utter perfection, I'd be deluded. So, and that includes, see, for some front page content, be it past, or what I'm looking to do moving forward, it's not always going to be something that I look back on and go, yes, immensely proud of that, 100% perfection in my part. Just can't work like that. I won't get better if I don't do that. And I won't get better without feedback as well. I guess what I'm saying here is, in a rather rambly way, is, yeah, I don't mind feedback. I can't entertain feedback that automatically puts me where I have to start in people's minds that I'm on the take or something, because I can't entertain that. It's like I say, I'm a mature gamer. I've been playing video games for 47 years. Nonsense. We're going to say 37 years. Maybe even 38. It's just, I can't go down this route where, you know, that's the kind of stuff I need to deal with. I'm too old for it now. I'm too old to get to really find myself having to entertain that kind of conversation, because it's not, there's so much, see, just in life, my own life, and everybody else's, there's so much more in this world to get a little bit more concerned about than a games publisher and what they might or not be doing, and some guy on the internet having a different point of view of mine, and that must mean that X, Y, and Z. That, you know, to me, somebody who wants to look to engage with me from that point of view is a conspiracy theorist, is on the level of Alex Jones about a video game. I have to just be dismissive of that then. You know, I have to be. So, you know, that's where we're at there. Anyway, try and get some of the serious chat done, just that moved aside. Again, folks, I know I'm not speaking, you know, not all my thoughts will be well thought out or well articulated, but I'm just doing this on the hop. I should probably just say that actually with regards to what I'm looking to do here with these sort of streams or looking to produce content like this, is just try and find, you know, just experiment with a few things, see where they take me, see where they take the site. But yeah, I think moving forward I'd look to do this a little bit more often. Probably, hopefully, maybe have some Q&A, you know, Q&As and stuff like that that can be held through this particular platform. So, having just played a rather unsatisfying online match, for being honest with you, I just think what I'll do here is we'll move on to a development match, as I like to call them. So we're going to see wholesale changes here. Carlos coming out, so right down the bottom here. So Antonio Carlos, right-footed centre back, who has maybe some potential there, young enough. This game's heading, he's quite tall, so I think what we're looking at there is no nonsense. Still early, I don't know what level I've got him at. Level 16, so halfway even getting to his standard, you know, his kind of default level, so a bit of work to do with this guy. Next, we are going to pick a left-footed centre-back, and then, you know, I've got some options here, but at the moment, my focus is just seeing what I can do with this guy. I mean, look at the difference here. The thing is, there isn't, you know, there is difference. See, Kimpembe in this game, he's just, as soon as I landed him, you know, I'd seen other play. I'd played against other players who had him in their squad. I'd read a lot on sort of PES fan places like that, people saying, you know, Kimpembe is just, you know, probably one of the best silver ball, you know, best defenders in the game. They're not wrong. Excellent defender. He's actually not too bad in real life, to be honest with you also. But I digress somewhat. So, moving on to left back, I use defensive fullbacks. It's a positional thing. I think it might be key for the way I want to play online. I always look to try and keep myself in matches, and I just feel as though they help shape. Two options here that I'm in the process of developing here. Boyleson, got him last night, got him levelled up to 1120 so far. He's already looking as though he's already playing rather tidily. With regards to his details, let's have a wee look here. So 25-year-old, 1.86 metres. Big thing for me though is I've got 6 of these defensive fullbacks in my squad available to me, and he's the only one who's left-footed, and I think he might be one of the better ones in the game so far as a left-footed option goes. As you can see, or as you would have seen, De Chilio and Johnny Castro are registered left-backs, both right-footed. Both of them can play either side. The same way Andre Almeida, who's right-footed but registered right-back, but he can play on the left and only gets a wee 2 drop in his OVR, which I don't think is a huge issue, but there we go. Fosu Mensah, who is actually weird because I think they changed his registered position to centre back in the previous update, but on my on the squad management screen, he still shows as the defensive midfielder. I go into training, he shows as a centre back, but he has got the defensive full back playing style. So you stick him at right back, you get that wee OVR boost, which again, whether that does anything or not, I don't know, and I don't think matters. It's how they feel. As long as I think with regards to positions and stuff, as long as they don't go mad with every player being a utility player. Every player, see the very fact of the matter is, see in the real world, every player can, technically speaking, every player can play everywhere, and so much they could be told to play there. Not that he would, but Valverde could, after, going into the next Champions League tie with Chelsea, can just say, Messi, do you know what, just play centre back. Just want to play centre back. I don't want to, boss. You're just playing centre back. You're a human. Yeah, that's where you're getting stuck. He'd never do it, but strictly speaking, in the strictest possible sense, you could stick him there. How Messi would be as a centre back is anyone's guess. Well, I think we've all got a good idea. He probably wouldn't be up to much as a centre back, but as long as that logic applies in these games, I've got no problem. I've encountered some people saying you can play players anywhere and it doesn't matter. Again, it just doesn't hold, and I think a lot of that is a result of I don't know. It kind of boggles the mind a little bit. But again, I'm trying to be as respectful as possible because that's what I believe. I think it's important to try and be respectful. But I suppose that's something we'll look at right now. Then is with regards to positioning. I'm seeing some comments. There has been a bit of discussion. What I would say there is between a couple of folks on WNB. Unfortunately, it looks as though it's just kind of became a little bit tit for tat, even though it's longer form answers. The debate is about tone overall. My take on positioning is that there is an element of gameplay design to it. It's some of that license over reality. I'm not sure. See, just currently with the way the game is structured, and certainly with the implementation now, especially now, we can talk about PES 2017 all we want. We're now at PES 2018. We, certainly going by Adam's words, if we're looking at a new cycle moving forward, if we look at something like the dribbling mechanics as they are at the moment, I don't know if real positioning would actually just completely screw the game up. Let's see really, really good positioning. I don't know what we end up with then. And, who's to say we just don't end up with high-scoring games? Now, people could say, well, if that's the way it is, that's the way it is. It's all about skill and understanding. Yeah, that's all very good, but, I think sometimes decisions have to be made just to say, how do we keep this? How do we make it that a player doesn't feel as though they're really, really struggling? And I'm not saying it is the case. I'm just trying to play devil's advocate a little bit. Maybe perfect positioning would with the way the strength of the dribbling game as it is this year, would actually make that pretty. It could maybe prove uneven. It could maybe favour the attacker too much. I know me. I know for a fact if it was me, especially considering online play, I don't know if I'd like that. I want to. I want to have a sense of fear, if you like, sense of danger. But if I feel as though the dribbling is overpowering the tools I have available in defence, then it's uneven. You know what I mean? And there needs to be there needs to be a balance there. That doesn't mean to say I don't think that how things are currently should not go without criticism. That's absolutely right. What I'll also say though about positioning is, I can, if I wanted to, I could actually turn I could play another match here. I could look for positioning issues all over the park if I really, really wanted to. I think, I don't think that'd be natural of me to do so, and it's not how I play these games. So see if people say you're being ignorant and you're giving them a pass. I'm not. I am being ignorant to it, but that ignorance is born of how I play a football game. I do look across the park, of course I do, But when I'm in possession, I'm not getting overly concerned about where my left back is. If I'm further up the field, I'm certainly not going to get too stressed about where his left back is unless there's a space to exploit. I just can't play like that. I can't, I don't know. I think it's important sometimes to go in with as clear a mind as possible. So I suppose I'm best saying this. This is in response in some part to Matt. I take value from his effort. There's a passion there, which I think as long as Matt wants to, carry on with that, and have that kind of level of involvement, I think there's a place for it. I just think personally, just sometimes it requires, especially given it's a game, you have to, a lot of it's to do with feel at the time. That's why, I think last year's, the strategy in the build up to PES 2018 was, who can really think about it? Okay, E3 gameplay footage all over the place. We had it, we got it, and there was a lot of discussion about positional stuff. There was all these things, yeah. As soon as people got that beta in their hands, there wasn't a lot of discussion. There was still some discussion about positional stuff and issues with the game, but they weren't, I just didn't feel as though the conversation was so, oh man, it is so bad. It shifted. Simple reason is people had the control in their hand. Their focus was no longer about looking all over the screen. It was like, what am I going to do with the ball? How am I going to defend? You're going to focus on the action. Who's got the ball and stuff. Everybody would like to claim, oh no, well I'm a tactical genius and I'm taking a look back on things all the time and taking a picture in. Yeah, but I think everybody looks to find spaces and everybody looks to kind of have some sort of have an eye elsewhere. I think it's a good thing actually if games can actually encourage you to have that. That's why I go back to the defending mechanics. Pardon me. And the merits of those. That actually demands a little bit more from me. I don't mind that. Certainly as long as there's streamlined mechanics. Driving it all. Just give me 2 seconds here, folks. Sorry, I just realised I'm actually just sitting about on old Teo Hernandez there. I'll try and talk while I construct here. So, moving on. Yeah. So, I think, just to go back to the conversation that seems to be having at the moment, I think it's good. I think it's good for people to have those exchanges and different takes. Like I say, with regards to defending, I think it needs to be a big thing next year. I think there's more that they will look to do with regards to control on the ball. I think this year was a great start in that respect. But what it needs now is a viable counter. The defensive mechanics as they are just now in this game I don't think are a suitable counter. I'm not talking about the theory. I'm not talking about if it is about off the ball positional management. I'm talking about going to face up on a guy. This is where I think these new mechanics for dribbling. I think they maybe a viable counter to those would be defensive mechanics when facing up against the ball carrier, very similar to that we've seen in PES 2012, PES 2013. I just do. I think that whole, but enhanced upon what that model was. Having maybe a control over, that kind of level of jockeying, how close, how tight. I think there is things that can be done there, which could still be streamlined solutions. Because I hate to say this because I know what this makes me sound like, but I don't think tactical defending in FIFA is really that good. Again, I go back to the reality of the sport. I don't think tactical defending is a great representation of that. so they just need to. There's a sweet spot here that needs to be found. And then maybe with that, then maybe you start to go, right, see, let's get this positioning nailed. Because now that we have mechanics on the ball and defensive mechanics off the ball for regards to challenges and the like, we can actually do that positional stuff. We can really tighten that up and make it super realistic, because it's not, there's balance there in that one-on-one in those one-on-one situations. It'll be interesting. It'll genuinely be fascinating to see what they look to do with PES 2019 in that regard, because I think it's a big one. However, I think one of the other things that's been brought up, and I think I'm not going to say on the fence. I've got a different experience from a huge majority of players shooting. Now, I think the shooting with regards to advanced shooting is really good. Mechanically, I think it's really good. I take on board some of the criticisms people will have, saying, wait a minute, it's the logic, I don't understand, how you got to push away from the goal to keep the ball down. It's like, I don't know, I suppose it's like the whole inverted y-axis thing or whatever. It just makes sense to me. And even if it didn't make complete sense, I think as just a video game mechanic for shooting, for that thing that you ultimately want to get a shot on target, it's what the game's all about, it's what the sport's all about, scoring goals. So that demanding advanced shooting as it's set up just now, and that it actually demands me to have that little moment there where I just need to kind of think about it and compose. I like that. I fucking love it. Because it's not just a case of pointing and getting the angle right of where I point it towards the goal. It's actually maybe more about pushing it back a little bit. And also thinking about, right, I've got to make sure it's the button first. And I just generally like it. However, basic shooting. First of all, what I'll say is, basic shooting is what it says. Basic. It is basic. So, if there was a defence to be made for why basic shooting is not great, it'd be because of the name of it, maybe. It's basic shooting. However, I do think that with regards to feedback on shooting, variety and how it feels and stuff, using basic shooting, I think those are fair criticisms. And I'd maybe, if I were Konami, I'd maybe be looking at some other alternates, or basic 0.5 or something that just gives those players who are just maybe of the opinion that manually ain't an option, advanced is just too much for me to kind of process and feel as though I can play instinctively. They probably need to look at that, because I honestly think that a lot of the woes that maybe people have and the negativity people have towards a shooting is just down to do with the fact that it is basic, and they don't maybe have much really anywhere else to go. Again, I would take on board any sort of points to the counter with those who also use advanced shooting and say, yeah, well, it still feels rubbish to me. There is actually elements of advanced shooting where I just think, that could have been a wee bit better looking. I would have liked to have seen a certain different flight. But with regards to overall variety compared to that of basic shooting, it's miles ahead of it. It is absolutely miles ahead of basic shooting with regards to what you can see in terms of variety and I like to strikes at goal. So it'd be really good if they found an option, a shooting option, that could appease those players who can't use advanced, currently find themselves thinking, right, well, basic is my option. If they can just find another option maybe in there, just to kind of satisfy those players. And just, generally though, certainly, I think they do need to work on even more variety to ball flight and things like that. For all that I might think that, not it's fine or anything, just that I do enjoy it. I think it works. Sorry, I've just got a little bit distracted here, just attending to a message that I've received here. a family member. Will not be long. Actually, folks, I'm just going to quickly go in there. So we'll be back in 2 seconds. I'm just going to get a drink as well. Okay, so I'm back. Just while I was actually pouring myself a little refreshment there, just thinking about another one of those, another topic that has been much discussed and much commented on, and that is Master League. Quite frankly, Master League needs rebuilt completely. It's last year's Master League. I loved. PES 2017's Master League was the most fun I've had in Master League in years. Again, I'm not saying that right. That's, you know, objectively that's correct for me. Actually, just how I play Master League, the whole default players thing, and then just going at it from there is just really. It's a very simple way to look at things, you know, just rags to riches. It's the whole ultimate football dream thing, isn't it? But you still need a good game, you still need a decent mode to facilitate that, to keep you invested. And for whatever reason, and it may well be because I never played Master League in PES 2016, or indeed PES 2015, for other reasons. It wasn't necessarily a case of the mode itself. It was just a time thing, work commitments thing, that just kind of stopped me kind of investing in that kind of Master League experience. But certainly with regards to PES 2017, I just felt as though, you know what, this is cracking. You know, this is so much fun. See things like the training regimes and stuff like that. I think that's all brilliant. Player nicknames. I think I had was it last week? Post on the boards there, discussing it with Nick, and I know there's a lot of people. There's a guy on another community who's recently started Master League. I think he's actually just he's starting to play PES after, well, what he said, he was growing tired of FIFA. I think that works both ways, by the way. Who's to say? You know, it might be, you know, next week I go, do you know what, I'm going to give FIFA a shot. I think that's quite healthy. I think that's quite viable. But I know this guy plays, I believe, a fair bit online, played a fair bit of career mode and stuff. He says, I'm just a bit fed up with FIFA now. But he's saying that in March. You know, the game came out in September. So I think so far as I would say he's got great value for money from FIFA then. And if PES holds his interest for 3-4 months, and it's, you know, it's a constant thing. When he gets a free moment, he's always looking to get a game of PES and he's enjoying it. And then just eventually gets to that point, he's like, I'm kind of done with it. And if that's 3 or 4 months down the line, again, I would call that value for money, particularly when I know how much he paid for it, because he got it off the PS Store. Now, again, people say, yeah, but he got it because it's £16. And, you know, it's not vital for PES to, I don't think in the modern, I think, I'm not trying to claim some level of expertise here. This is pure perception. You know, the way games are distributed, and therefore the way the way games are purchased, the way they come under consideration now by potential customers has changed. So that whole thing about holding a price point, it's neither really here nor there. Also, there's a big one is the way that a lot of AAA games are made is they probably don't need to be the price they are because they'll have microtransactions in them anyway. Which again, I'm not saying that's okay. What I'm saying is, if you're gonna have, if it was a microtransaction game, and then they go right, it's $44.99 now, and then it's £16 3 months later in a sale, whatever. It's one of those things. And I'm talking purely about price here. I'm not talking about microtransactions themselves. I'm talking about the reduction in price of a game coming down. It's actually a good thing for the customer in a digital age, especially. I would like to think I'm not alone, but the amount of different types of experiences, the amount of different types of games that I find myself purchasing, maybe a little bit more impulsively than previously, has certainly increased. For example, both Wolfenstein games, was the PlayStation Flash sale. I was able to get both of them for under £11. Was that a year and a half ago? And I think the most recent of those ones, those first two, I'm not talking about the one that was out last year, sorry. Sorry, I was looking at something there on my computer and realised I didn't have the internet on. Oh well. Yeah, that was never happening in a pre-digital era, and on consoles anyway. There was no way I was going to get maybe those two titles for as cheap as I am. That's a thing now. That happens now. So it happening to football games as well. Football games coming down in price dramatically in a flash sale. I don't see an issue with that. Long may it continue, quite honestly, because it might get more people playing these games. Certainly with regards to PES, and that's why I go back to that whole thing, is maybe PES Lite first, maybe My Club first, and then a paid version of the product coming out later for the more for that offline player that can actually be based on a lot of feedback that's happened from the My Club release. And I'm talking pure gameplay here, out on the pitch stuff. I don't see what's necessarily wrong with that model. But yes, Master League absolutely needs rebuilt, and I am of the belief that it is a focus. Now, I say that, I don't know where that focus takes them. When somebody says I'm focusing on something, it doesn't always necessarily mean what you would want it to mean. Now, personally, I think the reason they're focusing on it is because they ultimately want to make it better. And I think what you would see in Master League in PES 2019 would be, I would hope to be bigger, put it that way, in one point of view. What I don't want the mode to do is lose its charm. It's silly. There's elements of Master League that are silly, and I'm not talking about transfers. That stuff they have to get that right. By all means, I wouldn't mind an option if see the way it seems to be with transfers and stuff just now. I wouldn't actually have an option of that. I wouldn't be against the option of that being, do you know what, I want to just flick a switch and I want the game world to go crazy a little bit. That shouldn't be the default though. The default should be, right, okay, let's have a little bit of respect for the realism of the sport here. And that's maybe something that is just maybe not been apparent in Master League this year. So that's something that has to be addressed. But I am very, very much of the belief that they can't go about losing their charm. That daftness that is sometimes there. There's a lot you could, again, this is probably more a kind of creative and imaginative side, but there's a lot of humour there's a lot of fun to be had with the nonsense that happens in Master League. See just those wee box outs when it's a picture of, a guy saying, well, here's a good example. PES 2017, I signed a guy called Maximiliano Oliveira from Argentina. He was actually a decentish player to pick up, and he was 17, 18 years old, but he just kind of fit the bill. 70 something, development curve looked all right, and I was like, right, this is the guy I want to play up into my main striker. And I was ultimately able to do that. Now that is why I play Master League. Player development, that kind of, those little stories. And what really complemented that in PES 2017 is it's stupid stuff like, the season prior it was UEFA Player of the Year, and then it was the second game of the season, and we're away to, who was it again? Probably doesn't matter, but let's just say it was like we were away to Frosinone or something like that, right? And he scored an equalising goal. And then, go back to the main menu and it's a picture of Maxi Lavera there going, I can't quite believe it, still hasn't sunk in yet. And I thought, that's ridiculous. Do you know what I mean? Obviously he's not going to say that. He's UEFA Player of the Year. An equaliser against Frosinone. Calcio is not something that he wouldn't be able to quite believe if it's just, I think it was a header or something quite standard. So it wasn't like this unbelievable goal that he can't quite believe. It was just like a standard goal. So stuff like that, it's stupid. It's, it wouldn't be what happens, but there's still something. Sure, I can't be the only one. There's an element of humour to that. You go, that's just fucking absurd. Do you know what I mean? But I'm laughing with it a little bit. So things like that, I don't want them to get rid of. The stuff like the player nicknames and all that. That's cool. That's kind of that. Whether we could debate for it. You could debate away as to how representative it is of the sport and the like, but it's a kind of football culture thing, isn't it? The whole idea of giving a player a nickname. They've tried to do it. Do you know what I mean? It's just a bit of fun. So, aye. Don't lose the charm, but so far as on the field goes, this is where they have to be different. There has to be that differentiation. You can have all that, intentional or unintentional comedy nonsense off it, but when it gets on the park, I want to be fully engaged. And again, I've not tried Master League this year, but certainly with PES 2017, all that was going on. I got on the pitch and it was just proper engagement in the match, every match to match. Some absolutely epic matches I played in Master League and in PES 2017, and I'm not talking about the whole the obvious ones like, it's a Champions League game. Plenty of those which were absolute cracking experiences, but even some league games, even some Italian Cup games, just proper in the moment. It's like this is incredible. They've just captured something here. They've got so little in the way of licenses, they've got so little in the way of maybe broadcast authenticity, but because of the football, for all its issues it did have. I say all, I make it sound as, the fact is, the good outweighed the bad. That was simply it. That kind of engagement that it got from me, it was like, this is wonderful. Do you know what I mean? And it did, as somebody who's getting a bit older, it took me back 10 years. 10, more than 10 years. It took me back to the mid-2000s, the noughties. That PES 4, that PES 5, PES 6 type era, where it's just like, there wasn't a lot going on there. And again, it was all about the football, really. A lot of what that mode was bringing to you was what was happening, in the league table and on the pitch, therefore, as a result. So there's a lot to be said for, less can actually give you more, absolutely. Which I suppose can segue on to the licence stuff. Talking, some conversation with Miguel, CFP, who I just want to say right now is just a really worthy contributor to the forums in WNB. Again, things need to kind of settle in many regards, and hopefully when things do, if things do settle, we really get. But just to really say, I think Miguel has come in with some good points. A lot I don't agree with, but there was one thing we did agree with, and that was the whole licensing thing. And not so much how completely unimportant it is, but how you could if you just make a fantasy universe that is, a fantasy universe. I'm not talking, bloody centre forwards running about with capes and fucking centre backs casting spells to stop goals, players getting by them or whatever. I'm talking about we were talking about stuff like fantasy ad boards, fantasy merchandise. Just as long as you can look at that screen and go, actually, I believe that. You know what I mean? That's believable as a universe, as a world. And I know we're just talking about, I know we're not talking about fucking Bloodborne or Zelda here, regards game world. I'm just talking about when you look, when you're peering through that screen at the football that's in play and you see the ambience around it. It doesn't need to be Coca-Cola, Pepsi, whatever that's ad boards that are around it. It can be fantasy, just made up bullshit all the way around it. As long as it's artistically, imaginative and stuff. I think a lot of people would be surprised as to what they'd be willing to put up with regards to licensing. The other point I think Miguel made, and as an extension to that was, or maybe it wasn't Miguel that made it, just even in regards to things like competition licensing and the whole leagues thing. The fact is, FIFA is what it is, and it's it's not that these developers are not to sound disingenuous, but I think it's fair to say I don't think FIFA's development team went out and earned all these licenses as such. It's a massive corporation with a lot of money that's able to slam that down on the table and say, give us this all exclusive, please. And right now, I think international club national associations are kind of like there's a lot. I think it's very fluid, that. So I think I think that that exclusivity deal is very desirable, because it's like, hold on, what, you just want to make a video game and give us, all right, okay, we'll go with that. You want to give us that amount of money for it? Yep, fine. What I think might happen over the years is you might see a little bit more in the way a case of some associations just going, you know what, we're not going to leave money on the table elsewhere, because we'll get all your money anyway. There's a way we'll get money from you anyway, one way or another. But there's another player, there's another market out there, and I can see it maybe going that way. However, just to go back to the importance of it, again, if there's just artistic effort put into something that's not licensed, I think it'd be very surprised. People could be very surprised as to, like, it's not. This doesn't look like Sky Sports. I'll talk about broadcast authenticity in a moment. Sorry, that doesn't look like the ad boards and the ad boards I see when I watch football, when I go to see football. But you know what? It looks like it looks very much like it's football of the planet Earth. It's just products maybe that are getting advertised I've never seen before. You'll see that if you watch football from God knows where in the world. It might not always be Coca-Cola and the same sponsors. You'll have all these, more domestic sponsors and stuff. It's just the same thing, It doesn't need to be real. And the very fact of the matter is, advertising is advertising. Advertising hoardings is advertising. I'm of a position that I'd like to see a lot of that shit not be in games. And to use another point about how you can do it well artistically, look at a game like GTA. There is no way GTA can get real life sponsors for soft drinks and stuff, given the theme and the content in the game. So they had to go out and create it all themselves. Now, people will say, but GTA's got this enormous budget, and X amount of people working on it. We're talking about advertising hoardings, We can all just hit Photoshop or whatever and create it. We could all create logos for products. Pretty much anyone could these days. I want to make Furious Deer polo, a polo shirts brand called Furious Deer. I could go make a logo for that if I wanted. It wouldn't take that long. Look at the kit creators. Look at the kit creation tools you can now get. People can just go online and create their own kit for PES and import it in. Total fantasy, but they look fucking amazing. So there is, if the developers were kind of maybe look at things that way, who knows? Licensing moving forward, I would say, is just going to generally be interesting, and that's not based on any information or anything. It's just based on the world. Again, it wouldn't surprise me if both FIFA and both PES and FIFA have free-to-play elements sooner or later. That's whether that be the consumers force them down that route or otherwise, I just see it being the way of it. Games as a service, which is actually looked upon rather cynically in some quarters. I don't think necessarily needs to be a bad thing. There are risks involved. There's moral questions about this. There's moral questions with my club. There's moral questions with FIFA Ultimate Team, which I get. But as I've said prior, these are a reflection of football culture. They absolutely are. It's undeniable, and I think to what I would say is to people who are incredibly cynical, by something like my club, by something like FIFA Ultimate Team, is that what I would say to them is it ain't going away, ever. Just ever. It's not going away now. It's not because these developers have found something. Developers have just, and publishers have just moved. They've identified something in football culture, and by extension, by the way, they can't exist without those people that make up that football culture wanting this stuff. So, as much as I can appreciate that there are certainly, and I'm not ignorant to it, there's moral questions here when it comes to my club and FIFA Ultimate Team. The question of, this is kind of like gambling. Yes, and I think with a football video game, a wee bit no. The whole interactive sticker book collecting thing. It's a sticker book, people say. They say it cynically, it's a fucking sticker book game, who cares? Nonsense, childish. No, that's football culture. It's been around for fucking decades. Yeah. Football sticker books were always going to become something else. And they weren't always, and see the thing is, even going back to the Panini days, and I know this because I grew up in that era, it wasn't just kids. Do you know what I mean? It's people of all ages have their own little things about football culture that we can all go, I wouldn't do that, but they do. Football culture influences fashion. There is so much, especially now in the online world, where how it has impacted how football culture has grown, and how it's branched out. And video games would be mad to ignore that, and that's just the way it is. It really is. So therefore, it being the way it is, it's about working with it, because it ain't going anywhere. I think that's the best I can really say about it just now, just kind of on the hop here. And I do say it a lot when we've had the conversations on the boards and stuff, but it's football culture. So if there's a huge problem with it, then we've got a huge problem within football culture, and it ain't going to change because, like I say, while there is that concern about, is this gambling? There's also the thing about, right, if it's in an active sticker book, in 1985, when I was getting my stickers for Football 85, with every pack purchased, it increased the likelihood of a doublers. Now the fact is you can trade a doubler, right? You could, to get something that you did need. That's something they should probably look at then. I think the logic at play in my club, I've not got a great knowledge of Ultimate Team, but the logic that maybe is being played here is that, right, okay, if you spin for a player and you get the player and he's not what you want, you can convert him into a trainer. Yeah, but the XP system's actually a bit messed up. Because if I spin for a player, and I think it's all right. I think there's logic there. It's like, right, okay, well, is there in fact? But if we look at it from the point of view, positional match, country, nationality match, maybe even club match sometimes, age bracket match, continental match, those things, if those were all, contributing factors, preferred foot, all of that, then you kind of want a little bit more back. I mean, I think you sometimes, I'll do it in my club. I'll spin a white ball player and go, right, and I'll have a look at every player I could come across just in case there's potential for a gem. That's what that's what PES DB is magic for. But inevitably, a lot of white ball players, they could turn out to be great, but you're like, I've not got the, I can't, I've not got the time or the patience to invest in these. So you convert them into a trainer, and it says 192 plus if you get a positional match. And I've had it before, guys of the same nationality, maybe the same foot, and you go, right, 192 plus, so I'm going to get more than that then. And you stick it in, you get 192 points experience, or 240, or 360. And you're like, nah, hold on, I should get a little bit more for that, And, I can maybe get Konami's concerns then, if it's about, yeah, but then everybody can level up dead easily. Well, maybe not then, maybe raise the bar. Level 30 can still be level 30, you still need to work towards that, but I mean, maybe not as brutal as it is in some regards. You reach level 30, it resets, and then maybe, if you get a little bit more experience from these players, you can maybe just do a slight tweak to the required experience levels between 30 and say 50, or 30 and 45. Just make it that so every so often it maybe drops again, you get a wee reset, so you get something to aim towards, not just that end point, but throughout it you can get rewarded for doing that development, and it's not just in the player's stats. Because what I think happens here is you could change the landscape, what you face online. And I'm not talking, people will hear this and maybe think, oh, he's talking about my club. No, we'll say it wasn't my club, say it was Master League Online or whatever. Any mode whereby development is possible in an online space, for example. I think that's, I'd love nothing more than to be able to turn this game on every time. Maybe not necessarily have to put as many of the restrictions I put on myself in place, but I'm quite glad that they work, the restrictions I put in place. But, pardon me again, folks. Yeah, I mean, I'd love nothing more than be able to turn this on this game, pick my team, maybe I've levelled them up a bit, go online, and I'm playing against a guy who has, say, a starting 11 that's not too dissimilar to mine, for example, right now, that you can see on screen. Maybe, obviously with the exception that some of these players are levelled up and stuff like that, those bronze players are levelled up. I actually thought they were going to do something like that, because I think it was it not just a couple of weeks after the release they'd done the Japan national team campaign. That was one of the best ones they've done, because it was level 50 players, so you weren't just, and that was level 50 from anyone in that pool, and that included white ball players and bronze ball players. And yeah, I've got a couple of them myself even, I do. So, I mean, there we go. I say the level 50 obviously has max levels, level 50, so when I scored them, he was, I was a maxed out player. But that was great, landing somebody like that was awesome. We'll go further down. Mahino and Moshige. Again, look at that, level 50s, and they look like, they look decent enough players. And they are decent enough players. I think I've got a couple more than that. I had more than that, and I did do a little bit of convert to trainer when I was trying to push up certain stats in certain players. But there's another one, they released the Legends, well. The Dortmund Legends were all released at level 50. Albeit they're legend players, so they're going to be pretty good anyway. But I mean, especially that Japan national team campaign, I thought, are they going to do this with other stuff? Because if they do, it's going to be amazing. Because, a level 50 player, if he's bronze, is, there's every chance he could be shit hot. So I could go into this online space and play against all kinds of different teams and setups, because there's more variety to the potential, because there's the actual, I mean, they have, what is it, I don't know, get thousands upon thousands of players in this game. But if you do stuff like that, then, the amount that are actually getting used increases. And again, that's, it's called My Club, right? But that, you apply that to anything in a football game, any mode that is online and is maybe about player development. I can only see that being a good thing. The cynic in me says they maybe don't do that because then it's like, right, well, you know, we kind of maybe do want people to be down the route where they find themselves spending money. Right, well, okay, but get it right, get the balance right. Another thing I would comment on at the moment is with regards to microtransactions, just while we're talking about this, is coins, the cost of coins, the cost of currency. It's absurd that I'm saying this stuff and I'm aware of, how it sounds, the cost of currency for a video game, but it's microtransactions, right? Go from the standpoint that they just exist. I think the cost of coins in this game's too dear. I think maybe at Christmas time or something I got a PSN voucher off a work colleague and I thought, yeah, I'd bought games in the PSN sale, pretty much everything I wanted to get. And it's like, do you know what, I'm going to buy some My Club coins. And then it was like, you're looking at them and it's like £7.99 for 1,000 plus 50, and it's like, that's 4 players for £8. Come on. Level 30 players. And, I could spend 4 silver players who I don't particularly desire, and even if I convert them into trainers, they might not be a good fit for any of my players to give them any considerable XP hike. So again, it's, pricing of coins needs to be looked at. Maybe more options, even. But I think the cost of a spin being £2.50, it's £2. It just seems a little bit, off. I think £2.50 for a spin, fine. Give me 3 players, or give me a player and a selection of items. Whether it be new ones, special trainers. I think they could even look at special trainer distribution again. And again, I'm talking about this not as My Club, I'm talking about it as player development in a online mode that is about player development. It can be called whatever it wants. There is ultimately, I think, going by, some of the communities I'll visit who, and I'm not just all about My Club, it's just people who happen to play My Club. The player development side of this game is something that people get a lot of enjoyment from, and I'm certainly one of them. I don't know, maybe my first couple of streams and the matches I've played and the squads picked, certainly I've explained what I've done, but maybe some people say, well, you still get Gabriel Jesus and Roberto Firmino up front. Fair enough. I'd rather not have them up front, It's good a player as they are. I actually would like to have, I'd like to be those players there to be, if they were rated 84 and rated 82, I want them to be players that were maybe like this guy, yeah. It'd be great to be able to get a Galabinov. I think ultimately he maxes out at 78 or something like that, and who knows, if I ever get him there, he might look, he might play like an 88, let's say. But yeah, that's maybe a player like Galabinov. I've got, I don't want to go through them all, but there's tons of examples of their players who I've invested in. Obvious one being Fosu Mensah, João Carvalho. Level 47 or 73, so still a fair bit to go with him. I've grown attached to that guy. I want him to be my right midfielder instead of Felipe Anderson. Ultimately, that's what I want, And I would like to be operating in an environment whereby more people are encouraged to do that. They don't have to, but I'd like to operate in an environment where more people are encouraged to do it and feel like they can. And I don't think that it's quite right. So, I'm trying to be as balanced as possible here, in so much that I'm saying that, listen, see the player development side, the fact that it's in there, the fact that there's not, there's different level caps and all that, that's great. Because that creates a Master League type world that I can play online in. So, yeah. Sorry folks, just going for a drink here. But it will be interesting. I think everything about PES 2019 is going to be quite interesting to see what they do. The big one, without question of a doubt though, let's not be around the bush here, is offline. I've actually discussed offline beyond Master League, out with Master League as well. I've spoken about how I believe they use cloud data, cloud matches that feature in my club. I think cloud data being used, it's certainly been an option that can be used in other offline modes. I think they should explore that, because I think that could see, if people want it, an experience against the AI that could always change. I also think it's quite interesting in so much that it's the stereotypical one is, I play against Stoke, I want them to play like Stoke. It'd be quite interesting to see what actually happened there in a cloud environment. How many people would actually play Stoke like Stoke? I think things like cloud leagues should be a reality. I know you get these other, you'll get things like the Pro Evo Network leagues and stuff like that for guys who want to play against each other and stuff. I'd love that kind of thing to be part of the game, to be in the game where communities can set up. So whether that be a WNB one, we've got 20 of us in the league. We can play at our own pace or whatever. There's just ways that we can do it, or even if it's just a case of certainly even taking your Master League team out with Master League and having something else to do with it, that'd be great as well. Even people like that, no Master League, no My Club crossover. Okay, maybe not My Club crossing over into Master League. What about the other way? What about if you were somebody who, when you first bought the game, you invested hours upon hours, weeks and months of play into Master League, and you think, yeah, you know what, I'm happy with this squad now, I want to export it. Maybe I could use it online. Now, into My Club, I don't know, maybe that causes some issues itself, but certainly being able to carry that Master League squad and it be exist in a cloud somewhere that somebody could play against that Master League data, that'd be incredible. Do you imagine, that would be, it'd be a mode in itself. And I think it is something that, and I've said this before, I've said it quite a lot of times, when you get to sort of superstar, medium level in the cloud matches, and even top player stronger, offline matches, games against the AI can be really, really good contests. And from a personal standpoint, because actually, I thought I'd test the theory out, I actually played it as, I actually picked two random teams the other night in exhibition mode, played it Superstar, and oh boy, was that an eye-opener. I don't know if I enjoyed it still. I ended up getting hammered actually. I don't know if I enjoyed it. And I say that honestly, I don't know if I enjoyed it, but it was certainly different, and there was certainly parts of that particular exhibition match where I was like, this just, there were certainly parts of it I'll say that I just thought, this doesn't feel as good. And when I play cloud teams in My Club, it's just like, you know what, something's going on here. This isn't an AI playing to any strict instruction that's, in the code of the game. This feels like I'm playing against cloud data. It feels like I'm playing against an approximation of somebody's style. And I think that should be the future with regards to elements of offline play. Speaking of offline play, I think what I might do here actually is venture into a wee cloud match, because I talk about them all the time, so why not play one? It could end up rubbish, don't get me wrong, you can play these cloud matches and they can be garbage, but you can play them and they can also be pretty epic, so why don't we do that then? Like I said, I am swearing by trying a development type strength team, so we're going to go down that route. One change I will make then would be centre midfield. I think Big Ignacio is coming in, and I'm going to do a contract renewal on him anyway. He's one of my favourite players. And now is the toss of the coin. Do I pay with GP or my club coins? GP will be. He's worth it. So, very much a development level defensive setup. I am a little bit nervy about putting Osorio in there, so I'm going to change that. I'm going to put in another player who I've recently just broke over that level 30 line, Lucas Hernandez. So nice left foot, right foot. Yep, that'll do me. A couple of silver ball players in there. I'm very tempted, folks, to play Hullet just to see what he's all about. Although he is a registered AMF, which means I do think I'm going to see a drop. Oh Christ, I picked the wrong thing. What did I do there? Right. Let's see. See, that's another thing I want them to change. Seeing this squad management screen, which I actually think, see personally, I think they should be using something like this as a home screen or a easily accessible screen on Master League. Flesh this out a wee bit, I think it's good. But let's see what happens. What they should have here is, I think what should happen is, it should show me somewhere what he's going to change to before I even do it. Instead of me having to do this, which is clunk, oh he's an 83, maybe I don't want an 83 centre forward, clunk back to where it was. You know, just give me that information before I even try and make the switch. It's funny because it's like that in the formation setting screen when you're playing, so why can't it be like that here? So he's 83 as a centre forward, can play there, can play MF, can play support striker. I'm not going to find out what his support striker ability is like until I change it to that. So we're going to give Hullet a run out. Not very development mind, but I've not played him yet, so give me a break. However, we're going to change him. We're going to bring in Petagna, I think, who is a player who I'm seeking to develop, and who I think's form might be okay. So I think I'm kind of happy with that. In a bid to just try and get on with things here. So as you can see, not the strongest team in the world, but look at that, just bringing Hullet in. It sits at 1854. Just a very quick aside, just with regards to legend distribution this year, I'm not so sure of it. I think we could do with maybe looking at that. You know, I can get it, you know, legends to be a rarity, that's fine. But again, it comes down to this thing whereby you're saying, see, for a week you can get Cruyff. It kind of there should be other ways to be able to get it, because that will, you know, people, I know it can come down to player choice, but you know, that's when you get into that whole thing about, you know, is somebody ready to spend £100 and try to get Johan Cruyff? I don't think that's something I don't think that's a particularly good thing. I don't think it's good to put somebody in that position who may find themselves doing that. So this is a, what did I do? See that top player stronger match. So this might be good, might be crap. As you can see, decent team I'm playing, decent wee squad I'm playing against here. And Messi, Mora, yeah, he's got a nice wee set up there. Tempted to change stadium, but I'm not going to. What I'm going to do is, and I'm guilty of not doing this sometimes, is making the necessary adjustments for versus com matches. So here we go. I really am just a big on dropping the defensive lines for stronger opponents. Big Timothy ain't up for it, which is a little bit disappointing. Neither is Ignacio Fernandez. So in comes Khedira. Relief Hulit's good, Petagna's good, Acuna. I'm going to stick to my tried and trusted here. However, this time, because I'm playing the Delco as a DMF, my advanced instruction will therefore be just for, you know, I can switch on and off Khedira being defensive, and I will have wing back. Probably just start like that. What was the other one I sometimes find myself using? False number 9 is a potential option here, but I don't want to overload on these advanced tactics because it's my forgetfulness. I have a tendency to forget what's where. With regards to a secondary, yeah, gonna have to do it. Going to type Mark Messi. Nedelku will probably try and pick him up more, as opposed to the defensive pairing, but you know, you just never know. Just depends how play flows. But yeah, let's play some football. Again, what I'm going to look to do, I think, if I go down this route again, is actually look to, you know, look to maybe have more in the way of prepared content, points of discussion. But I'm just keen to try stuff anyway. We'll see how this goes. Hopefully I won't have too much in the way of complaints about the responsiveness or whatever, seeing as it's an online game, but hey, never rule anything out with PES.
That's a foul. Simple decision for the
Free
referee.
kick.
The referee has resisted the temptation to go to his pocket. It's just a stern lecture.
Clear foul. So
So his contractual situation is sorted. One less concern for the manager.
that's actually quite a relief in fairness, in so much that the manager is sorted for another 24 games without managing to meet the contract conditions. Something else I need to look at, because after a couple of passes, you know, it gets just absurdly difficult. Like, you can't. Yeah, it's almost like you need to pick either off. It gets to the point where it's like, right, well, if you play 3 online matches, you get absolutely no chance of getting meeting the contract conditions. If you went down the offline, you know, that's not the way it should be. So certainly what we're saying is frequency of having to get to a contract renewal point where you have to use GP or something, that has to be looked at.
Passes it through.
Oh, Petagna.
He's got options
my man Rude.
and the follow-up.
What a goal. Lovely wee looking header that.
That's no fluke, it's what he was there for.
Oh, players like this fella almost have a sixth sense to get themselves in such great poaching positions. How quick-minded was
Lucky the
that?
reflection on the shot there, but oof, he's picked that spot beautiful. And an assist on his debut for Hullet. Oof, that was well placed, man. I strongly recommend, there's a video by Spoony Pizzas, and it's about finishing, volleys and heading. It gives actually some decent pointers with regards to finesse headering and you know, how you can shape to shoot and, you know, desired powers and, you know, what results can come. Very, very good. I strongly recommend the guy's channel. He is very passionate PES player, and not what tends to be the case when it comes to people think about the YouTubers that they're, you know, especially when it comes to PES, it seems to be, alright, if you're a PES YouTuber, you're a My Club guy. I don't think that's the case. You know, somebody like Spoony Pizza is very much a Master League player. I think he plays online. He doesn't publish a lot of content that is about his online play. It's all about tactics and, you know, trying stuff out, doing Master League campaigns. The guy plays a power of PES, and he is an older player as well. You know, from just these frames of reference and stuff like that. I don't think he's ancient or anything, but I think he's like an older generation player. Certainly done his top 10 football games ever, and he was including MOUs and stuff in it, so should give you an insight as to maybe the guy's age. And again, it just all points to it not being all kids who enjoy PES. It doesn't make any logical sense to me. Oh, Nedelku, brilliant.
He scored! Unbelievable. All too easy. They are in danger of disappearing.
Sorry about that, folks. Just got to be happy when one of your
Goal of real quality. He made it look ridiculously easy.
One of your younger prospects gets on the score sheet.
Conviction, contact, and sheer class.
But I do seem to watch something like Spoony Pizzas. I can even see the same when I'm watching maybe some of Matt's content. Just any other content out there when it comes to people playing the game. The variety in styles, the variety in approaches, and the way people play the game, you know, it's that's something PES has, I think, going for it. You know, whether, you know, I think it was PES Monkey, and you know, it's regrettable I need to bring up another little instance where, you know, there was a bit of 4-on-1-2, but I think Force Reps was saying something about, alright, you're doing this and that. You know, I don't find that to be, because I think the criticism was of PES Monkey's choices, how he was choosing to play the game, and, you know, I think he was looking to play a kind of methodical build-up play, be expressive. What's wrong with that? You know, what's wrong with wanting to turn on these games? And, you know, I think this, you know, it was like a case of, oh, it'd be so easy if you done X, Y, and Z. You know, I know, not that I could leather this AI at the moment, but I could certainly play to win exclusively, and it'd be an utterly shallow experience, you know, in victory or defeat. But as you can see here, I am going to run away with it against them here. I think I'm just a bit. I think I'm about to get some form. I think that's what's happening here. Because top player, stronger, can normally be a cracking little contest. But I think the other thing here is well, I don't know if it's just, again, whether it's styles or, you know, that cloud data, whether I've just got this guy's tactical setup. Because bear in mind, folks, see, when you play cloud data matches, you're playing against our advanced instructions and stuff like that as well. As well as the positional setups.
Alex Telles moves long, plays it out to the wing.
And that's all about this guy, man. Big Nedelku.
Pull it.
Just sticking about Jordan, sorry.
Going through. Hits one! Oh, outstanding save.
Get himself into a good
I'm
position.
imagining this guy team is how mines would play. I am guilty of elaboration. Sorry, aye. Just trying a little bit too clever at the back, and I don't know if that's what's coming through here. And this guy's play style.
Alex Telles knocks it away.
But I am giving him a bit of a doing so far.
And it's Boyerson. Kadira.
Oh, pull it.
Oh, the keeper's done just about enough.
Bullet will probably beat himself up after that as the sole culprit.
Just kind of burst through him there. I thought he maybe for a wee second there, I thought he'd done a cheeky empty on him. 6 yard box, pick a different corner taker, Mr. Kirby. Centre backs taking corners. And the keeper's getting that one, isn't he?
That'll go straight through to the keeper.
He wasn't happy. Have they actually got like hair movement, proper hair movement for Hulet's dreads?
Kadira. Beautifully done.
Oh, crikey. So,
Andre Almeida tries a through ball.
nah, this is
And a
going to be
header!
Oof. Adelku again.
In for the follow-up. He's had a shot.
Oh well,
That's it for the first half.
easy enough first half, eh?
Fantastic excitement towards the end of the half there, and a last-minute chance that really should have been converted.
Peter, do I really need to say anything, or can I simply refer you to the scoreline?
Really has been an astonishing game, peppered with goals.
It's not been astonishing, it's been a little bit of a walkover. What I'm going to do is... Right, so, with Hulet you get 83's centre forward or support striker. We're going to try him as support striker though, just a wee shuffle here. I like to see how he plays from a kind of slightly deeper role. Who am I looking for options on the bench at the moment? Because I think I'm going to make a change. Aye. So I'm going to bring on Cicero. Cicero, is it? And any others I can make there now? Nah. All these guys I kind of really want playing. What I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to try and play to Boylison. The example of early crossing ability it is. Pinpoint crossing.
Referee's given a throw.
I am now able to have a wee thing there. I see Daniel's pointing out the old team chemistry. Noted, Daniel, I'm aware. To be honest with you, it's not something that I actually picked up on there in the whole preamble there before I was prepping the game. But aye, it's like you say, I think it is quite key. And it's something that needs to be. I mean, I said it in a post. They probably need to get this team spirit thing, whatever. It needs to be looked at seriously. If it's to remain in place. Oh,
Delightful ball.
Oh.
Can he shoot? Messi decides to play it back. Chance to break. Takes it forward. Into the channel. Pull it.
Balls that up. Balls that up enormously.
They're actually not getting too tight, which is interesting. No, it's probably cautionary. Don't dive in, try to pinch it or intercept so nobody can get in behind.
Boylison came inside quite a bit there, eh?
Boylison.
Yeah, it's best closer. There we go.
Beyond special! What a player! He came, he saw, he delivered.
And another.
Well, he was never
assist for Boylison.
So much to aim at.
It's rarely a problem when that much time.
So he's kind of came inside there as a
the
defensive fullback.
And the finish was made a lot easier.
That's a nice wee finish actually, just the way he's kind of met that. I kind of like that animation.
Murillo. Alex Telles. Lobs it in gently. Aubameyang.
See if I can get a wee run around here. I like Carvalho. Nice quick feet. Cicero.
Boyleson. Boyleson. Looks like a good ball through.
Oh.
A chance to play it in.
It's just a crossfest I can have here.
Clearance now. Can anyone get on
Which,
the end
you know,
of it?
I mean, honestly, folks, I wouldn't.
More than
I
happy
want to
to
be
take the
a
muscular
little
approach.
bit more demanded of me, but
Looks
I
to
do
slip
have
it through.
players
Here's the delivery. In with a header.
whom I want to develop, especially in the form of Boyleson. You know, I mean, I want him
Lucas Moura.
just to make the best use it
He's
for
gone
the
away.
farming opportunity that it is. I suppose development opportunity is. I did say it was going to be a development game.
He's
Tanya.
gone for
Oof.
it. And that's wide.
Okay, it's come to nothing, but it's a warning of further threat on the break.
Probably should look at another sub here. I stuck Boyleson at centre back or something. He's doing some. Ugh.
Has gone out.
I don't know, look at something a sec here. I'm gathering that it's wing back because I've tucked him in as much as I have. It must be something to do with his. Yeah. He's not quite with it or something, but he is. He's playing way more inside than maybe I'd normally see from the fullbacks in my setup. I don't know if it's maybe wing back is actually bringing them inside, but don't get me wrong, there's potential positives to that. But I think I'm going to make a sub here. I think Wood can come off. Nice wee debut for him. Sorry. Papu can come on, and I see. I'm not doing that. That's just silly. I really do like Fernandes. I do like Fernandes. So, we tactical switch up. No real need to change too much.
So the manager making the last of his changes.
I do like the kits they've designed though.
And now he gets
A wee Thistle fantasy kit.
I think he's put in a good shift,
Based
and,
on
and
my
their fans appreciate that. I think
love
he
of
can feel
Italian
pretty
football
happy
and
with the contribution he's made.
Good idea, just poorly
that whole,
executed.
you know, the way the kits are, you know,
He acknowledges
just
that
like
he
that
should have come
style.
up with something better there.
It's certainly a hell of a lot
His
better
body
fucking
shape
kit
was a
than
giveaway
Kevin.
before he made the
Kit is
pass,
like at the
and
moment.
its obviousness was appreciated.
Good challenge, he just stood firm.
They've definitely,
Fernandinho.
since that most recent patch, I'm talking the one that came with the data pack. You know, I know people like to just go, placebo, you're being this and that. Again, I'll refer you to somebody like, you know, even just the sheer volume of the guy's content.
Gomez, can he finish?
Again, something like Spirit Pizzas. I think he's got a video that's just all about his observations in the patch pre and post. And he did say something about R2 being a little bit nerfed. And you know, I don't know if that's the issue that I'm experiencing with online play, but it does. It feels really it can feel really unresponsive, and it's some part kind of maybe that's the issue.
And it's Gomez.
Because even like there,
Messi.
he's get caught easily, and that just wasn't really happening quite as much. Feet were a little bit quicker in transitioning in and out of R2. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I think maybe, you have to get balance right. I just feel it's just an element of sluggishness, maybe a lack of an animation frame or two, that just to kind of signpost it a little bit better.
Checks on the touchline, a change about to occur. It's being played forward. Oh, well intercepted, really alert to the danger.
Wilson's been all over the place.
The final whistle.
Alright, comfortable 4-0 victoire.
They simply ran away with it. What are your thoughts on today's game then, Jim?
Yeah, looking back on this, the early goal had a big influence on what unfolded and allowed them to dictate with comfort.
So we've reached the end of our coverage for today. Many thanks to Jim Beglin alongside me, and we'll both see you next time.
It was alright, it wasn't the biggest test in the world, well, certainly not. I liked that goal, I did like that goal. Just so far as a finish goes anyway, nice wee looping header. Nedelku getting himself on the score sheet too. Boom! That guy's got some shot on him. That was just a really well struck volley. But I blasted a few from range with him. Acuna showing there that his heading game ain't that great. Britannia, it's a nice wee front post finish. If you're going to, allow for front post goals in a video game, I don't mind it if they're like that. But again, it's just a frequency thing, isn't it? Liked Hullet. I feel I'll still get a proper feel for how he actually moves, dribbles and executes, but he certainly looks the part. I know a lot of folk detest the idea of legends being in PES. I find it mind-boggling. There we go. Just find it mind-boggling. Again, I say this as somebody who grew up and was 13 years old in 1988 when, as much as Hullet had been about for a while before then, you were kind of restricted to what they showed you on Sports Night in midweek. That's where you seen your Champions League football, was in Sports Night. And maybe it was all Sports Night would be on a Wednesday night, and it'd be on for like an hour and a half, an hour and 45 minutes, and they would show you a whole ton of highlights from games. So you were restricted to that, and then it was European Championships, of course, we had in 1988 in Germany, and that's when we saw the Hullets and the Rijkaards and that were able to sit down and properly take in what they were all about live over the course of a few weeks. And so see, for somebody like me, then Hullet being in a football game takes me back to that time. People have this thing sometimes when it comes to football about nostalgia and, I can't have these players that were playing 30 years ago in a football game, it's destroyed, it ruins the universe. Come on. Do you know what I mean? Come on. We're playing fucking video games here. These games could be as realistic as they you could have the most realistic football game in the world, right? Plays flawlessly and just to absolute perfection, and then you try to tell me as soon as Ruud Hullet turns up, it's like, no, they've compromised it, they've fucked it. I mean, that's why I think there is there's just a lack of, I don't know, is it fun? Is it just maybe a case of, and I say this as somebody who's guilty of it because I'm sitting here talking about stuff now, so obviously I take these things seriously, I've got an investment in them, but I can't be that serious that I think that a legend being in my favourite football game is objectionable. It's just that to me, and I'm sorry to say it because I know I'd be speaking to people who I I'm in conversation with in these boards. I find that weird. I do absolutely find it quite strange. I find it pretty weird to be so, against something, or to be of the opinion that this is why the franchise is X, Y, Z. It doesn't make sense. It really doesn't make any sense. But on the other hand, this is where I think the developers themselves have to kind of go, right, well, you need to understand that you're going to get that kind of comment if there is shortcomings in other modes. So I'll take on board those. I can take those comments on, but it's not where the problem lies. I'm sorry. It's not like, who cares about Master League? We need Ruud Gullit. That's not the logic. That's not how it's been worked out. And the fact is, PES has always had legend players, or it's always been about that kind of aesthetic as well. You go right back to ISS. You remember Argentina? You'd had your Batistuta and your Caniggia lookalike. That was the thing. It was the personality. Not even just individuality, personality. I think a lot of that, to go against all that, and then if you go to the PES games, classic teams, they were all there. Do you know what I mean? They were all there. It's just, such is the way the modern world is, to stick Hullet in, looking like Hullet, is an issue. Unless they give him a jive name and make him look nothing like him, and you need to work it out for yourself. It's just the way things are. And the fact is, I can type in a search right now. I can't mind the names of the guys, but who do it? They do classic matches all the time. They create classic teams. I mean, are they the problem? I mean, is that objectionable? If anything, more customisation, the better. And I don't see why it has to be left to fans to customise everything. I think it's, I think people are looking in the wrong places for issues if they think that legends being a part of this franchise is the reason for shortcomings elsewhere. It just doesn't work like that. There's money involved. I mean, the very fact of the matter is there will be money involved in acquiring rights and stuff, but it's not all the money. It's not like, oh my god, we've had to spend 70% of the budget on acquiring legends and the other 30% building my club. It just doesn't work like that, folks. These are different things, They get budgets, but there's budgets for different aspects. It's the whole vitriol towards legends is an odd one. It really is. I'll be dead against legends if I don't get Socrates. How's that? I'm not going to say you've got me on the record on that, but if they bring out Socrates and I don't get Socrates before the next game comes out, go nuts. I'll join you. No, I'll get legends. Get rid of them, because I didn't get the one I wanted. And trust me, the announcement, not even the announcement, I'm talking about the thing, the moment, but the fact is, Socrates being in PES in official capacity is brilliant for somebody like me. One of the first distinct memories I have of international football, not the first, but one of the most distinct and earliest ones, was that Brazil team of 1982, was Socrates, a variety of reasons for that, but these are things that this is football, again, it's football culture. You can walk in, you can go into an online store and you'll get items of clothing that are all about that kind of retro style, and they're all about, the slogans on about these legendary players. Again, a football game shouldn't have that kind of similar thing. Why? It doesn't. Sorry, folks, just doesn't. I can't. I can't go along with that logic, as it were, that legends are an issue. I almost feel like putting all the ones I've got in now in my next match. Nah, I'm not going to. But anyway, there was a wee look at Hullet. Gets an assist, gets a goal. I liked his finish actually. We are going to go at that again, maybe. I'm going to use a weaker team. So out comes the root, and I'm going to use my development support striker in Paulinho. And who's the other guy I was using now? I'm very tempted to give you a wee look at Abel Hernandez, who's just a crazy player. Just a freak. Whom I started using, who I got last night. Real freaky player. Okay, down we go to the bottom here. I'd love to be able to bring on Galabilov, but he's going to be his force. Do you know what? I'm doing it. He's on the bench at least. Elsewhere, I am going to bring on my other recent acquisition, the scout acquisition, so J. Alonso. Now this guy's got quite a skill set, like I pointed out earlier in the previous stream. Defensive fullback again, but head and knuckle shot, pinpoint crossings are good, and long throw, militia and fighting spirit. These stats are obviously going to start increasing the more I play him. He's only level 2 at the moment, so a fair bit of work ahead, and I ain't got no special trainers. And yeah, that's one thing I will say is special trainers, there needs to be something that they do that allows special trainers to be more of a to be more frequent. Either playing online matches or something that you can acquire through a spin, or even having graded special trainers for development. So a special trainer that can only develop bronze ball players are lower, silver ball players are lower, that kind of thing. Maybe that helps manage development, that it's not just a special trainer, you can stick it on any player. Stuff like that might be worth exploring for them as well. But I think this is maybe the team I'm going to go with here. Oh Christ, Alonso's not got great form. Bah. I'm going to risk it. Along with Fosu Mensah. Out of curiosity, this is probably going to tell me nothing. Well, he drops 4, but it's early days yet. What I'm ultimately hoping is once I get Alonso up to his natural basic level, that kind of difference between his ability to play left back and right back won't be as great. I know if you look at his where he can play at the moment, it's more very much secondary that he can play right back. But I've got Johnny Castro, another defensive fullback here, and he's got the kind of secondary position. He can play as centre back, and he maybe only gets a wee drop or 2. Again, I know I'm talking about overalls here, but that's the information being given to me, and that's what I'm working with. So, or what I'm just taking note of that fact. Whether it has the influence it should do or not, I don't know. But there we go. So back at it again. Hopefully we'll get a wee challenge this time. Let's see, top player stronger. Racked up a few scouts here. I think what I might do is if I win this match, I'll be just falling just shy of that 20k GP. I might do a wee spin on the Inter Milan. See if I land anyone decent there. So I've made a couple of decisions here. What we're looking at here, again, decent new squad this guy's got. Kessie, Kante, Barkley, Shop, Messi, Cruyff. This will be the first time I've seen Cruyff. So for all this kind of Legends talk again, when was Cruyff out? 2 weeks ago? It's the first time I've played a lot of this game, be it cloud matches or online matches, and this is the first time I'm seeing Cruyff. I go into, our conversations sometimes in WNB, and I'm told that the place is just full of legends and it's just people doing this, that and the next thing. Just ain't so. It ain't so. I've got 4 kits. I think I'm going to do this. Yes. Game plan then, let's see. Looking alright. It was inevitable maybe that Alonso was going to have a wee form. We have an issue with his form. But we go on. We will play initially with Alonso starting. This guy's team, again, I don't know, this will maybe be just a cloud team he's using, but pretty well kitted out. As you can see there, he's look at his bench. There's a lot of actually one of someone who I've got some hostilities with, shall we say, on WNB, Mr. Mutu would have really tell you all about white benching and whatever, but that's more I think to do with the sort of level 1 kind of players that people that actually try to play online, and some of those kind of tactics that are employed. Ultimately the problem is there. It's just what are you going to do? People look for an edge one way or another. They look for an edge in the real sport, and we all might find it very distasteful and stuff, but that's just what humans do. If they're going to do it running about in a park when there's millions watching them, they're going to do it in a video game when nobody's really watching them. Again, not excusing the practice, just pointing out it's human nature. So this guy's team I'm up against, Melon Banger, he's got a 94 team spirit against my 97. Don't know what the form of his players will be like, but again, hopefully we'll get a nice wee contest here. I do feel like I'm going to have to drop them back again. Marking assignments are going to be quite interesting here if I decide to go down that route. I am a little bit reticent, shall we say, to put distinct man marking jobs on, but I might make an exception here given what I'm facing against right through the middle there. I wonder, has Nedelku got it in him to mark Messi? Interesting. So there's an interesting one, because he's in his development, early development, he's not at his natural level. Paulinho is a registered support striker, but it's a boost that's centre forward. Maybe that will be the case throughout, which I wouldn't object to. Because that's the thing about PES DB, you can look at it and it can tell you where a player can maybe level to, but it doesn't tell you what they would level to in an alternate role. So that remains a mystery throughout. We're going to see how we get on here. He's playing the kind of higher line with his midfield options, so I think centre back, I think my defensive fullbacks tucked in would be enough. I don't need to go maybe man marking with these guys. I could be proven wrong, horribly wrong here, but we'll see how it goes. So again, advanced instruction, I think I'm going to stick Fernandez there in that instruction. Another attacking one I think I might pick here is I note Daniel saying I should maybe give old tiki-taka a try, just to stop maybe some of the bombing forward that seems to happen on my own team. Nice observation, Daniel, thank you for that. If we get any joy out of that, or, you know, it's just a good feel to it, then I'll go with it. I'm going to do wing backs again, just feels right. It feels like a done thing. Tight marking job, why don't we try tight mark Cruyff and then try a man marking job on Messi, and we'll see what happens. As a consequence, actually, I think what we'll do is we'll bring in that unorthodox, but it can work. Sometimes what I do as well, I see we certainly a more pacier support striker. So we've got Paulinho on the right side there. Sometimes with Gomez, I've used Gomez and I've marked there. Well, what would be in that situation is was it Van Neef? Certainly, see if you're looking at a Marcello or something like that. It's maybe sometimes it's good just, you know, I'll mark a defender. Simple as that. But what I've noted is, you know, just over the past couple of days, just some of the other forums that I kind of go on to.
Hello and welcome to all of our viewers from
you know,
around
folk
the world.
new to the game coming over from the FIFA side of it. You know, just pure out of curiosity, whatever it may be, just seeing that they actually quite like some of the advanced instructions and stuff. So,
Thanks, Peter. It's a pleasure and a privilege for me to be here.
Immediately,
If
you
you
can
didn't
see
just
just
miss it,
a
they are
different
up and running already.
dynamic.
Well, it's an honour to be able to sit here and watch a man the beautiful game owes so much to, Peter, in Johan Cruyff. He has such a great influence on the world game, never mind just this team.
Truly unique in so many regards.
A hero.
Tidy play there by Petagna.
He's having a look round.
There's a wrong player and wants to go forward there. There's Alonso. He's crap form and all.
Now the pass.
Ooh, he gets his... There we go.
He scored! First blood drawn.
So... yeah.
A lovely header, but really it was all about the delivery.
Two developers, one creator, one goal scorer there.
He gave it everything he had.
Deliberately played to this. I want, you know, Alonso's got that pinpoint crossing. He just sat that one up nicely for Paulinho, who you can see there is actually, you know, a far kind of taller sort of support striker. And yeah, that's a satisfying start. I've had them before in these sort of cloud matches and all has went tits up and I've got beat 5-1 and all sorts after taking their lead. There we go.
Oh, full-blooded challenge, and it had to be. Scored inside the first 10 minutes to give them a 1-0 lead.
What's your mind, sir? Want a wee bit of the action here? Got away with that. I don't took that there and thought it was a ref. Not the ref, sorry. You see that again?
Forward it goes.
What I'm noticing there is once again the defensive fullback on the left is really tucked in. Borderline midfielder. Or borderline more like operating central.
Now here's the through ball.
That's Fernandez.
Header!
So I appreciate I am playing very much a cross and nod type game at the moment.
I have to condemn the defending. They've got to stop the cross.
A lot of these games sometimes you know, if you just feel that you've got the better of the opponent, you just want to try and rack up the goals a little bit. I'm going to try and be more expressive. Sorry, creative match. Try and point at 1 o'clock and then.
Hits one!
Oof!
Oh, taken with style!
Dude's on fire!
Threatening to pull clear!
Look, there just wasn't much of a gap to begin with, and to find it, I think it was a fine drive, and I don't think the keeper could have really planned for that. I think he's a bit unlucky in that instance.
Finished that well. Crowded penalty box, and he's picked a good finish. Couldn't quite see it there, but
Well, that second goal has given them so much more command and confidence now, and they should be able to take it on from here and either add to their lead or close it out. Surely they'll manage one or the other.
The weighted pass. Good challenge, he just stood firm. Messi. Vidal. Well, the ball's come loose and the chase is on. Back into the middle.
Here.
Going for goal!
Oh, save keeper.
Messi.
Oh, he's bust through
Puts
then.
it in gently.
Ah.
Can he finish?
Oh, what a finish.
Cruyff! No one quite like him! Cruyff versus the keeper, and only one winner.
Oh, that's excellent composure, because the keeper put as much pressure on as he could by not committing sooner.
That's a nice finish. I do. I like the flight we got in that one. Good connection. Oh, Johan, why didn't Alanji?
We have got ourselves a game here.
Listen, goals change games, and that has changed the whole complexion of this one. They have the momentum now.
Looks like a good ball through.
Taking any more chances.
He's got options in the box if he gets his great lead.
Easy or not.
Very well to get to that.
Well, what can I say? Truly wonderful goalkeeping.
He's definitely a little bit susceptible to that wide play. I do like getting through the middle of teams though. Take a few risks here. Should have that in there.
Coming up to half-time, leading, and things are looking pretty good. Timely intervention. Questions were asked, and he's given the answers.
I just need to get it in his feet there just to get it quickly. Cruyff, man.
Cruyff!
Save.
He's done ever so well.
Well, as Tesco
I'm scared to have a pop, huh, maybe?
just received an A+ grade.
So I did bring my keeper off his line a wee bit there, so I don't know if I've kind of encouraged the shot. So I'm going to claim that that was amazing stuff for me. I've got to be careful on these, I'm not.
Knocks it away.
Cunha.
He's out on the left now. Pretty robust,
Terrible.
but it's got the job done. Messi.
I'm blaming that on my burp.
Plays it into the channel. And the ball is out of play. With the challenge, and he has given away a free kick.
What? God. Alonso cross.
And he's cut it out.
On the Delco. The broken free there, I was leathering that.
The half-time whistle goes. So a really good half of football, 3 goals and just one separating them.
Well, we've had plenty to go at in that first half, Peter, and it's a fragile lead that could quite easily change hands in the
Now this has
second.
went on for nearly 3 hours, folks. So
I think you're at the right match.
Very little in it. The score
a
at
lot longer
half-time is
than
2
scheduled,
goals to
but
1.
plenty to say, plenty I was kind of looking to do. Not that I've done plenty or anything, but here we go. Right, so I think I'm going to make a change here, maybe. Just feel that I need to really seal it up at the back a little bit. So somebody a little bit more capable than Antonio Carlos is currently capable of offering. Up top, I've been alright there. You know, right, Alonso's off form and he's a 67 at the moment, so he's, well, I'm just using the term 67 because that's where we're at with him just now in his development. I don't know if I should just bring on Andre Almeida and just try and seal it out this half. I believe Andre Almeida's got decent stamina. As you can see, Lucas Hernandez don't necessarily, and that'll do.
Whistle goes, and we start the second half.
I think I preferred it when Fosu Mensah had his red boots. Just, you know, just one of those things again, trick of the eye, but he felt faster. He is still quite fast, don't get me wrong, particularly fast, but
Well, that's the
he
first
just
attempt,
felt faster
Peter,
than
we've
he
seen
just
at one of those breaking passes
heading
just
down
to spread the
that
play.
flank with his ready army boots on.
Can't get the better of his opposite number.
Just wondering, you know,
Cruyff,
it's not really
already of
sticking
course
with
on the score sheet.
the front men, unless it's
Can he put it
Delco.
away?
Had to be done.
And that's just a worry or two.
Well, he doesn't need a second invitation, even
Guy's got
from that
85
range.
kicking power already. Just having a watch back my second and monitor again. Yeah, shit, get what we'll call it.
Great strength, too strong for his opponent.
I think the other thing I could do with him looking at is see the triggering runs.
Andre Almeida
I feel like I'm pressing it. Aid it
tries a
all.
through ball.
Sorry, I'm shocked at that because.
Goes for it! Great ball to
Well,
play
see, for a
there,
guy
but
who's
he will
no
be
allegedly on
gutted to miss
form,
that.
Paulinho's been actually pretty good.
Well, there are a few pockets of space that are being exploited, and they need filling, and fast.
He's just done well there, man. Just that
Nearly
wee
came
push
off
out
for
and
him.
then
Well, Peter,
hit.
I think it's
I
fairly
probably
obvious
should have
he's one
done
of the
it.
biggest influences out there.
Finessing it just to try and get the curl.
Good run through the middle, but he needs support.
And you know, massive touch there. Okay.
Andre Almeida.
It's quite finely poised this match actually, to be honest. Just a little bit concerned that stamina
Wants to
becomes an
slip it
issue.
through. There really wasn't very much in that, far away from being a telling final ball.
That was just poor decision making and a weak execution.
I do know as well, see when it comes to, see that? When it comes to my choice of camera, I'm compromising a little bit.
Good interception.
I've spoken about that before actually. You know, when there's a lot of talk of difficulty in football video games, I certainly think a lot of it,
To get on the end of this.
you know, some of those concerns are legitimate, how they go about, what their solutions are with regards to AI's play patterns and things. You know, those are all valid criticisms. That's never going to be perfected, I don't think, but what I would say is I do maintain that shift,
Tries the cross.
the shift that we've had in the last 10 years, just over 10 years, to the 16:9 ratio being the standard, that changed football games as well. Might sound odd, but it, you know, I think it really has. That ability to see more of the pitch, so see those, you know, these dynamic wide cams and all these other kind of cameras. You're going to play against AI or indeed anybody with that kind of, you know, with a far grander view of the pitch. It is going to be easier, you know. What a save! Yeah. I think that shift to a wider screen format compared to when you were doing PES 5s and 6. I know that somebody said to me, oh no, well, I mean, they can get a patch now that does this and that in the PC version. You know, that's still, I don't think that explains away at all. I do think that those shifts, the ratio that we use these days, and, you know, that wider cameras and stuff. I am not saying for a second, oh Christ, what a first touch. I'm not saying for a second we should have restrictive cameras, but I just think, you know, difficulty can be controlled by camera view as well. I think it has a part to play. Personally, therefore, I can't, you know, if I want a challenge, I'm not going to get, I don't feel like I'm ever going to get a challenge when I get a very wide view of the pitch, because I prefer this. This is, don't get me wrong, it's still a reasonably wide camera angle, this. It's kind of, I'll be honest, I was searching for like kind of something that was close to a broadcasty type look. Or even, you know, more accurately, something that was close to the classic PES. You know, trying to capture an almost that kind of a claustrophobic 4:3 sort of ratio, or claustrophobic as it is now, or how it feels now, in a modern football game. So,
Just a question of running down the clock now.
these little things do matter. I remember as Dave used to do FIFA soccer blog. Can't remember what FIFA it was. That sound guy, Dave, actually. He was talking about how the new FIFA came out and was like that. When I play slow on a wider camera view, it feels fast. I zoom in a little bit, it feels slower. You know, these things, you kind of hear them and you go, that doesn't make sense. How? I think it just is. It just is. It's just one of these things that has to be taken into consideration. That's why, and I will say this for Matt, because he's a lot more patient than I am. A lot of his streams he uses the actual broadcast camera that has the cuts, but when you watch Matt's videos, for all for all I might make some comments now and then, with regards to what I feel, how I feel he's maybe playing in relation to his he's commenting and what he's, maybe where he's looking elsewhere. But generally, when you watch Matt's streams using that camera view, it does have a very nice look and flow to it, and it's not necessarily all about the football he's playing and how he's choosing to play. I think the camera itself has an influence on that. So, yeah, it's just another one of those little things with these games. It's just there now. Sorry, I just get caught. Alright, I just want to see this goal again. I do. I mean, the messy dribble bit there, that was a wee bit jammy and stuff, but I just like that finish. I don't know, just did. Yeah, just the way it starts to arc down a wee bit, I like it. Cruyff was good there. Makes me wish I had him now. I like that shooting animation as well. It's a funny one. I personally think people say there ain't enough animations in PES. I think I've seen lots of different animations, and I still see some new ones. Even that little Hullet one from earlier, the wee front post finish, he's kind of the way he's caught it there. Some people might say to me, I see that all the time. That was the first time I've seen that. So I think there is a particularly large library of animations that are in the code, they're in the game. I think there's a lot that is tied to certain players and stuff as well, don't get me wrong. But I think generally there is a stack of animations in here. Some of it can sometimes be down to coding, and I think patches, might that are looking to do something else somewhere else in the game can then, present a certain animation that you don't see a lot, maybe happen a little bit more often. These games are, for all that we can say that on the face of it, this doesn't look right, it's not got licenses, look at those graphics, X, Y, Z, animations, but they are complicated. Let's be serious. It's not like any of us could just go and sit and program one of these ourselves. So there's a lot of complexities there. I think in an age of motion capture, things like that, I just think there's a lot that sometimes you just find along the way. I even remember PES 2017. It was the last week of playing it actually before my trip down to Windsor and stuff like that, which was just a couple of weeks before the game itself came out. I remember just finishing up. I just wanted to wrap up my Master League campaign, and there was just some matches I was playing, and just suddenly it was just maybe it was because players were some of the players were leveling up a wee bit or whatever. Just different little animations and stuff starting to appear. It's like, I've not seen these, and I've had this game nearly a year. I'm not necessarily saying that's amazing. There is a positive to it. It's just like, all right, that's a nice surprise, but you're also like, well, I want to see that a little bit sooner, and maybe the game needs to be coded a different way so that that variety becomes more apparent from the off. The fact is, what's pretty much guaranteed is that as these games develop further, we're going to see a lot more, in the way of photorealism, or certainly the eye and the mind being tricked a wee bit. And that certainly in theory, and the way logically things have progressed, I'd say in the last few years, the animation count's going to get more and more, or whatever. So, even that, it's a simple thing, and I know everyone, I know and rightfully in some cases, it's not about that. Of course it's not about that. It's still nice stuff though, isn't it? Still nice stuff to have, still nice stuff to see. So, just another one of those little things to consider. So I've managed to get Hernandez up to level 32. It's not going to tell me if there's been any stat increase here. Well, stat increase, what's his stat increase? We went to heading, so defensive relative skill, a wee bit more swerve, and explosive power. I wonder if that drives his overall up. Carlos, what did he get? Explosive power, header and swerve. They both get the same, aye, and they did. Right, so We've levelled up to Superstar, folks. The temptation to keep going. So, like, I think, is this my right, okay, so this is what I mean about this manager renewal thing. Look at how many points I need to get from 24 games to pass it in the VCOM stakes. So right now, I can go away and play no more than 3, say, online games. But if I've ultimately wanted to bank on it, or have the option of going back to versus com, I could only play 3 online games, or Sims games, before I would have to play versus com to ensure that I get that contract extension. That's wrong, and that was me only passing the previous conditions once, and now it's already up to 60 points on the versus com, 38 on online. I'd love to say that would be a piece of piss, but it's not. Not the way online is anyway. I honestly don't know, just with the way online's been playing recently, if it's going to therefore require me to ultimately to probably not be able to broadcast it, because even I wonder if broadcasting is compromising online stability as well. But like I say, having played online before doing broadcasts, it's been like this for a wee while, and it's frustrating, because I would like to actually sit here and actually do online games and just let you see a little bit more of why why this is the mode I'm finding myself playing this year. So contract renewals, do you know what? This is going to be cheap. That's relatively cheap for those 3 players in JP stakes, but it's also very cheap in my club coins. I'm not going to renew contracts now, so I'm just under. Where's that at? I'm just checking something again. Get way right track. So what we're going to face next is Superstar weaker, which means to say the likelihood is I'm going to be playing a lot of teams, or be playing teams that have got the, as they're referred to in some quarters that I frequent, the default shiters. So I think that's what we're going to be facing on Superstar weaker. The temptation is maybe here just now is to end the stream, but I think I might carry on just for a wee bit, just to talk over maybe a couple other things. I did say I was going to have a wee spin, didn't I, on the Inter Milan agent. I think I might do that. I just want to have a wee check on contractual situations, just because what inevitably happens is you get kind of lured into going, alright, I'm going to do a spin, but then you realise after you spin, it's like you've got a whole stack of players who are out of contract. As you can see, it's reasonably healthy, 3-4 games and stuff, and I've got 19,000 in the bank, so if I spin, I still get a few games out of a few folks. I'm not, development squad, so I should have options elsewhere, and even if it's a case of, having to switch it up game after game, then I could easily do that. And again, I can appreciate I'm talking this language that's just, it's probably a different language to some folk. It's like, what are you talking about? You got, a squad of 135 players. It's absurd. It's not realism. I'm not claiming it to be. I'm claiming it to be. What I would say is just, I might still start a Master League at some point. Maybe that's something for a stream actually. Couple hours, just doing Master League, seeing what my own thoughts on it are. But it's like I say, I found myself playing this mode this year and trying to put almost Master League type conditions in it, with regards to how I would play Master League, try to apply that to this mode, and it works. It can, it does work. I would personally like to see them have more. This is where I will agree with my good friend Mutu, who commented on, you know, what the kind of barriers are for going from each different team strength. I think he's spot on there. I think if there was a way that was working before, then they need to kind of listen to those, you know, because the fact is, some of the best players in my club, some very, very highly ranked players, they're all about, you know, some of them are about player development and try to play with one-star teams and stuff like that. And, you know, that's legitimate feedback. For all my issues with Mutu, again, I'll say this, you know, I think he has a really good knowledge of the ins and outs of the mode. You know, with regards to feedback on the mode, I'm not talking about some other stuff that, you know, the other avenues he likes to go down, rabbit holes he likes to go down with this. But, you know, again, for all that I might have issues with him, you know, I'm absolutely going to try and I absolutely do take on some of his own points here. So, we're going to do a spin. I've decided. Who would that be though? Should I go for the Inter legend in PES selection or AC Milan? Bear in mind, I've already got Hullet. I think the chances of me therefore landing Maldini are pretty much non-existent. I think there's, how many is in here again? In the Inter Milan pool, there is Zanetti. It's weird that they've got a 37-year-old version of Zanetti. Is that the year they won the... Was he 37 the year they won the... Honestly, whatever. But Zanetti, he's an offensive fullback. He kind of goes against everything I want. But, ooh, my... Not only that, I'm imagining Zanetti and it's just ultimate utility man, I would think, on either flank. You know, maybe there'd be some drop off, but you're looking at an 87 player, so maybe he drops down to 83 as a right midfielder, then sweet. Who else we got? Walter Samuel. I don't need centre backs, I really don't. I'm kind of flush with those, so landing him would be neither here nor there. Now, I definitely take him. I like Stankovic. Am I missing something? Was there no another one? Nah, whatever. Let's have a wee look at the list on the AC Milan side. Oh, wait a minute. Spin you. Have a look at the list. Is it the same? No, it's different. So I've already got Luther. I'd really just like him just for the sake of getting him. It's Paolo Maldini, you know what I mean? Being honest, the other list looks a bit better. Just talking purely from desirable players. But it's that whole draw. I just haven't been able to get Maldini in the ranks. Because I imagine he'd be awesome at centre back as well, eh? Okay. Fact of the matter is, I'm probably not going to land any legends. because I've got one day. If I spun 2 in a day, it's nuts. But I've always got scope to try and have another wee stab at the AC Milan one later in the week. So we are going to GP spin for one of this crowd. But aye, it'll be interesting to see what they do with the World Cup period and stuff like that as well. Certainly more to come, I think, in terms of legends. Way more. Announcements and stuff. Something I haven't touched on with the Legends strategy is, and it's something that I've mentioned elsewhere, Legends should be available for everybody. Now, I can appreciate that there is, where they are placed in my club, it is something that they want people to be spinning, and, maybe they ultimately want to drive people to try and spend some money. But Legends should be available as an offline thing. How they go about that, whether it be unlocking them, and you're like, right, you've unlocked them now, we've got a weekly challenge that's an offline only challenge, it's not attached to my club, you don't have to play my club, you can do something, other wee challenge mode that's just in the front menu, just going, alright, do you want to unlock Paolo Maldini, here's a challenge, beat these 5 teams at a superstar skill level or something. That would maybe hold some people's interest, even if they've got no intention of using the legend themselves once they get them. It'd still be a bit of a draw, I think. It's still something to do in it, as we would say up here. So, I think even that, and I know people don't like, if they had to make them DLC, personally, even see just near the end of the cycle, even World Cup time, if they just went, see all those Brazil legends, the Brazil legends were brought out, do you want the Brazil legends? 450, 4 players, there you go. Milan legends, well, obviously Italy not making it this year, or Holland for that matter, so it might be a bit awkward, but they're still, Hullet wasn't a legend at a World Cup, but I mean, certainly, for guys my age, like I say, going back to guys my age, growing up, Hullet being on the scene, it was that Holland team and stuff, it was international football, they have scope there. I think there's scope for them to do something like that, and I think it's something they really should look at. And I don't think that means my club's creeping into the offline game. It's not. It's just, these are assets, do you know what I mean? And again, it's reality. There's a reality here. PES don't do legends, FIFA are going to do legends, you know what I mean? And I can take the point as, oh no, they should be doing something to differentiate themselves. Again, come back to it. Football culture. Why should they deny themselves? Like, football culture, large part of football chat, football culture, remember that player, oh, he was some player in XYZ. It's just part of the conversation, But anyway, I've let this tick over and over and over, so spin we must and we get silver. Now, what I'll say here is, that is not as bad as may appear, because having another keeper ain't the worst in the world. Especially given the moment whereby I'm doing some development drive and stuff, so just having another keeper I can just stick in between the sticks is fine in itself. So we ain't spinning any more immediately than out. And I'm conscious now that I've went over the 3-hour mark with this. So I think I am now going to end this particular broadcast. What I might try to do is, can't guarantee it of course, just depends how the AI feels like playing against me. I might try and over the next couple of days, or however long it takes, get myself to a position where it's like kind of superstar medium, superstar stronger, and then maybe look to do some streams against AI, because that way we can maybe have a little bit of dissection of AI play. You know, just something that's a little bit more relevant to ongoing conversations at the moment about, you know, things to do with AI and stuff. So yeah, maybe even if I do that, I might just do a wee announcement on the front page and then just set a time for it. Could do something like that, I suppose, and then just post it itself on the front page. So yeah, I have spent 3¼ hours talking away. Like I say, a lot of it was not prepared thought and stuff. It was just a lot of stuff that I've observed, looking to kind of go over a few things and that. Work in progress. Sometimes the best thing is just to go out and start doing it. So, and learn on the job, as it were. So yeah, folks, I am going to go just now. Sorry, I'm going to go just now, and yeah, see y'all soon.